You can go when you're ready.
All right, we're going to get started here. I go. I go. I go. All right. It's an honor and pleasure to join you here this evening. Those that don't know, my name is Safo Aki Shukwami, and I'm going to be moderating, emceeing this particular event. And we'd like to thank you all for coming out here this evening. And before we begin, just wanted to let everybody know the restrooms are first and foremost to the back. If you go out, either one of these doors is back past the soda machines. And so I'd like to, again, welcome you all, Kwaba. And first, before I begin, I would like to ask my elders permission to speak. All right. Well, we'd like to first give it up for you all for coming out here this evening. Let's clap it up. Thank you all. It's a pleasure to see you all coming to get this very valuable knowledge. And just to let everybody know, we do have vendors here, some vegetarian food in the back that's getting set up, and we also have some folk that's on the way that have food coming as well. And also, just to like to thank all the mothers in the house today, the Johnston family today. What has been a wonderful event for us to bring our mothers. I asked my mother would she like to come, but sometimes, you know how folks do, but it's all good, brothers and sisters. And so, but I was hoping to see Brother Nehemiah's mother. y'all know Brother Nehemiah? All right. I thought she would be here, but definitely I wanted to give her a special shout out, keep her in, our prayers. And but also, did anybody bring any flus in here? Right? No swine flu. Yeah, y'all kept that outside, and we kept the chips. Y'all took off y'all chip, right? Check it at the door, and Willie chip. As I heard Bobby, I heard Colin say, we don't need no chips. Some of you just gonna be controlled by the white man, regardless. And so I like to say that. But also, just brothers and sisters, there's a lot of different things going on as Bible continues to set up Monsanto. They just passed the bill, the Food Sanitation Act, Food Modernization Act. So hopefully, if you got some intel on that, I know you got what you wanted to talk about. But I'm gonna explain. Oh, right, good. Say again? Explain. Oh, okay. Well, the Food Modernization Act, brothers and sisters, HR 7875. And what it is Monsanto is now, everyone knows about the Monsanto is the chemical, genetically engineered foods. They're the major company going around and taking out small farmers all over the country. And so I just got a little piece of that, off the recent internet. But look at this bill up, HR 875. All right. So just look that up, and I tell you, it's how this thing is going down. It's a war against the organically grown food, and how they do the whole scene. First Queen, what's that? We saw this DVD that was the future of food. I think that's a documentary that's out that deals with Monsanto and where this whole thing is going. That where you're going to be criminalized even for growing your own food. So this is some type of thing that's going on. And another bill is HR 1913, the Sexual Confusion Identity Discrimination Bill. This is the gender-based bill where if you even think about saying something about someone that's gender confused, then some folk are coming to get you. As Brother Bobby put out in his Gay Boulay piece, and if anybody got that, raise your hand. Y'all got that Gay Boulay piece? And Brother Bobby him today. Oh man, ain't nobody see that? Oh man.
I got some Boulay, but not that.
Oh man, did you bring somebody? That Gay Boulay piece that you did in 03.
They can go on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a lot of clips on YouTube, but I got it on VHS, so I got both of them on VHS, so he lays out that whole Gay Boulay piece, and that was certainly an enlightening piece. But let me just get into this dialogue, we'd like to thank the Creator for this glorious day. We also thank the Creator for the guest speaker, Brother Bobby Hemmitt, who is one of the most intelligent and provocative individuals to ever walk the face of the earth. Brother Hemmitt is an internationally known metaphysician who has the courage and the conviction to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help us God. Today, we are honored to have him conduct a lecture on melanin and organizing unit of consciousness, the mystical Dogon civilization, and the new cosmic realities. Without further ado, brothers and sisters, I would like for you to come to your feet and give a warm welcome for our brother, strong brother, dropping his good knowledge to us. Brother Bobby Hemmitt.
All right. To piggyback off what he was talking about based on the this whole food thing is this. And we'll get out that diabetes cure again. We gotta gave it out over the radio. We're gonna pull libations. We're gonna get into this stuff, and hopefully, the people who come is the people who's supposed to be here. People will trickle in. This is a pretty good starting crowd, Don't get along, because our people do come late. To piggyback off that, I was up in Walmart about 2 weeks ago, and last year around this time, or year before last, in the 2007, 2008, Pepsi Cola had to come out and announce that their Aquafina water was coming from a regular water purifying plant. So they figured that if they came clean, then maybe Coca-Cola and the rest of them would come clean. But they stuck their head out there and was left out there. Sometimes these are spiritual things that happen to create certain reactions. So since they was left out there as the people who were selling sink water, they decided to redirect their image the very next year. Around April of this year, they came out with Pepsi and Mountain Dew Throwback. I was up in Walmart, I say, Pepsi and Mountain Dew Throwback? Like yesteryear. And then it says on there, made with natural sugar. I say, so to clean up their image based on the Aquafina thing, they come and tell a bit of the truth. And that's what happens every now and then. Every now and then there's a family fight that happens and they'll give out the truth. Well, since Coca-Cola didn't back them the same way, given where their water came from or what have you, and other companies, they decided, well, we'll do some damage control. So they put out Pepsi Throwback and Mountain Dew Throwback. And it says made with natural sugar, as opposed to something that's not made with natural sugar, which is high fructose corn syrup. Now, they got commercials they've been running for the last 6 months, since the fall of the year, or since the fall of last year, on high fructose corn syrup. And they have the commercial, and the person say, ooh, high fructose corn syrup. Ooh, that ain't good. And the other person say, you don't know nothing about it, it's all natural. So they're telling the truth, but they're not telling the truth. It is natural in the aspect of it might not be chemical, but what they don't tell you is high fructose corn syrup, which is made out of the same sugar cane, is made out of genetically modified sugar cane. Right. So when Pepsi said Pepsi Throwback made with natural sugar, it means it's not made with genetically modified sugar cane or high fructose corn syrup, which is genetically modified sugar cane. You see. Now, Dr. Andow said they had a famine a couple of years ago in Africa, and they had helicopters and boats was getting ready to drop off this genetically modified food. And somehow the Africans was throwing rocks at it and was protesting that they didn't want the genetically modified foods. And they didn't have the research or anything to know what genetically modified food is. Their spirit told them this is bad. Just like our spirit used to pick up on things before we got sophisticated or educated. Their spirit, it's like that woman that told her children, you all don't go to church today. and they would have been blown up in the church in what, Mississippi was that Alabama? That was Alabama. With the 3 girls or 4 girls who got blown up with Alabama. So they picked up on the spirit. So this whole was literally hundreds of Africans protesting that they didn't want the genetically modified foods. So the key here is this. And so which is how I was able to find out about genetically modified sugarcane was one of the brothers who used to bring me to Houston, Texas every year. He would drive a long distance truck, he'd park it in the field, and they would load the truck up, and he would drive it to the sugarcane factory. They would load it up with sugarcane. And that's all he did was just sit there, he had a lot of time to study, had a DVD player in the car, in the truck, and they just loaded his truck up and he would drive it to the factory. And he was the one that said, Bobby, the sugar cane that I drive to the factory is not the sugar cane. The sugar cane, if anybody ever seen real sugar cane, it used to be as big as a Kennedy 50 cent. Or what they call a $1. It was big. He said now it's about the size of a nickel or a dime. It's a small sugar cane. He said, and not only is it a small sugar cane, he said the factories will not allow natural sugar cane. They only buy and process the genetically modified sugar cane. You see what I'm coming from here? Which is where type 2 diabetes came from. So you can track, because when we grew up, there was no, anybody who had diabetes had type 1. People was born with it, you know what I'm saying? Just like sickle cell or just like epilepsy or something. It was rare. And then somewhere in the 80s, the doctors started diagnosing people with type 2 diabetes. That's because of the genetically modified sugars. You see what I'm saying? You see, so we know we can track the origin of this now. We can track the origin of this now. So I gave out the diabetes cure, cure on the radio, but basically we found a better cure, which is basically you just take a live cactus and either boil it or eat it raw, eat the pulp of the live cactus. So we can learn things from other cultures because this is what the Mexicans do. You laugh at them, but they ain't got the diabetes like you because they work with you. They can't be coming over here sick. They gotta work for America. So so at the botanicals, at the Mexican supermarkets and different things like that, they eat the live cactus. Or either they boil the cactus, or either way you want to do it, but you want to eat the pulp, and that gives you the diabetes. Or stops the onset of it. You see. There was another one that they said it was a diabetes, it was a cactus, Nepal cactus powder and prickly pear you mix with it. And that did it, but a lot of people have problems finding the prickly pear, so only thing you have to do is this, that's just the supplement because of the powder form, you need the prickly pear. But if you can get the live cactus, you can eat that. You see, you can eat that. So, we'll give out some other remedies and different things like that, as well as a lot of rituals, especially these on money. What we're going to be dealing with tonight is the angelic stimulus package. The cosmic stimulus package or the angelic stimulus package. I got a check here that white folks gave me. To deal with money, I want to know what the white folks is doing. White folks gave me this check. We're going to be giving out this check for $5. You see what they say, the angels? That's what we're dealing with. We're going to go into this particular science. You see. But it's no joke. It's stuff that works. We're dealing with it. We don't want to deal with a whole lot of things that don't work. So I don't get into arguments now over history. Something's not going to free you. You got big arguments over history. People argue over doggone history, and all the history is ours. Even if you argue on the history of Japan, that's black. You argue on the history of China, that's black. So who gives a damn about what concepts of history? That's not going to free us. That's not, you see what I'm saying? So everybody is doing this, they got wars against this. They had a big debate 2 weeks what I'm saying? What's the argument of history? So what we're dealing with now is things that work. That's the results. You say you be in something long enough, black people, only people stick around with something and be in it for years and it don't work. I.e. religion, you see what I'm saying, voting or whatever type thing. You see, so, even Barack Obama didn't get there because you put him there. He got there because somebody decided that they needed, you see what I'm saying, a certain faith to go through the hard times that was getting ready to happen to them. They needed to change up some stuff. You see what I'm saying? But on the other hand, this too, because I told people this now, I was a proponent of the Barack Obama force when it comes to the energy that came behind this black man and this black woman as a form of the return of the pharaohs. Now I was behind that part. This is Michelle. I looked at that. It was a nice color picture, but the color copy at Office Depot was broke. That's Michelle on that side, and that's the road. So we're dealing with that concept. We're dealing with that concept based on history. But now, if you think for 1 minute that by him being in the office, you're going to be free, or your condition is going to be better. You know what I'm saying? Because the first thing happened when he won is certain black people started looking for conditions to change. However, when in the world did somebody get a job, change your condition? He just got a 4-year or 8-year job. You see, I can see if it was a monarchy, but it's a job. You see where I'm coming from here? And it's a job for somebody else. Now, gotta understand this particular part though. We're looking at it from a spiritual end. And that's what we take from it, because he only is a sign of us rising spiritually. Understand the difference? He is a sign of us rising. But politically, physically, and economically, no. You see, and they made sure that they gave him a fucking burning building. It was going to take 8 years just to clean up anyway, even if he was true of heart. But they made a mistake by giving us Michelle. You see what I'm saying? That's one of the energies. The child of the slave. And when she went to Europe, they rallied around her all over Europe. Now they went to, they got the editor of Vogue magazine, which is his brother. And he said, they say, so what's up? Michelle just wear what the hell she wants. He said, yeah, and as a result, now the fashion people is looking to her to set the trends. They said, oh, she set the trend. She done made a ragged-ass cardigan sweater that she wore to see the queen. Now they're buying the hell out of cardigan sweaters. This sister is setting the trend. She can do it because they never had nobody look like her. You understand what I'm saying? They had nobody that dark before. So as a result, the psyche sets the trend is something new. So she can, she can wear a damn miniskirt from 1982. You see her some hot pants and then she'll come back in style. You see, she might bring back the fucking Jerry curl. White folks be wearing the Jerry curl. Because we're talking about an energy, but we'll get into the science on that in a few minutes. But before we go into the return of this pharaonic, which is not necessarily Barack Obama is the pharaoh, you are the pharaoh. The word pharaoh actually is translated Pharaoh, Heru. And the Heru is inside of all of us. So we're talking about the return. There was a double White House in Egypt. The house of the living and the house of the dead. The house of the dead is actually the house that's living, because the physical living is death. So the White House is the house of the living, but there's a house of the dead, a double inauguration. They have an inauguration when they have a new pharaoh. The house of the living and the house of the dead. The house of the dead is just in the spirit world. We don't want you to get it spooked out. It's the house of the ancestors. You see. So that was a great inauguration period that happened, but there was a whole lot of spiritual stuff that we'll get into it happen. But if you're looking at the physical stuff, you're going to be disappointed because it's just a job he has. Okay, but today is Mother's Day, which is interesting because we're going to be dealing with here again. This is the goddess Yemenjah. In Dogon, she's called Emiya. In Dogon, since we're dealing with the Dogon today, we're dealing with the goddess Emiya. Somebody get me some paper napkins because I know damn well I forgot my towel, so I'm gonna be sweating up the place in a minute. That's between the medium. So the goddess Emiya is the Dogon goddess. The goddess Yemenjah is the Yoruba goddess, and later on Santeria in the Western Hemisphere, which is Emiya, Dogon, Yemonjah, Yoruba, and Yemenjah, Santeria, which is the Afro-Caribbean transplant of the Americas. So this is fitting to deal with the one they call Big Mama on Mother's Day. You see, on Mother's Day. The one they call Big Mama on Mother's Day. Now there was one picture, this is a thing of it, that's another representation. I'm kind of glad that Africans did use this as a form of a representation because we got a lot of mothers that look like that. You see, so shit need to be identified. You see, Elizabeth Taylor can't play that. You see what I'm saying? You know, the old Oprah could. You see, but nevertheless, I'm looking at the whole thing with the. A lot of people they say they don't really like it as much. The #1 ladies detective agency with Jill Scott. I told him, I said, look, you kind of got to understand something spiritual. Oh, how many? Is it 2 little pieces? Oh, that ain't 3 or 4. Oh, that ain't gonna work. Yeah, okay. That's a kick at you for a napkin. Yeah. But anyway, I said, look, anytime you can have a woman as big as Jill Scott exude that type of beauty on the screen, whereas you're not looking at the traditional person where somebody has programmed you to say this is beautiful, and she comes in her essence, wipes out that whole trademark of some skinny woman, then you know that's some power. And all the Africans going crazy about her. And so I said, that's some power. And only a black woman can pull that off. You see what I'm saying? So this is interesting here. When they depicted this particular deity, giving y'all as Big Mama. Now there was a picture that I was going to bring. It's a picture of a mermaid deity with long dreadlocks that was produced out of the islands. And I was going to actually use it as those pictures that I sell over there. But when I was trying to make it, I had a lecture about a month ago in Atlanta. When I was trying to make the actual picture, the Xerox machine, or the copy machine, stopped acting up. And then it wouldn't start back until I actually read the passage, which was up under the picture, and it was talking about this deity kills people. And then I realized, oh, I can't sell this. I can't sell this, especially black people. You get mad with a person, you know what I'm saying, because he scratched you know, open a can of milk or a carton of milk, and you accidentally get scratched. You want to kill somebody. Because you know the history of our roots is we kill people with petty shit. You know, no white people fell out the whole time. We was in this segregation and oppression and all this kind of stuff, but we killed a lot of black people with the magic. Over petty shit. I don't like the rich. So I said, now I ain't gonna put this out. I'm not gonna put this one out. But the deity that they took it from was the mermaid deity Olokun, which is the water or the mermaid form of Yemenjah. Yemenjah is the land mother. Olokun is the goddess of the sea, although Yemenjah is also depicted as the goddess of the sea. So this mermaid deity, this is one picture. They didn't even want me to make this one. This is one picture, but this one is kind of benign and harmless, but the other one, and they took it from a legend that they have down in the islands where they say, Men will be walking through the aisle. I guess if you tickle her fancy, if you cut the grade of what she's turned on by, they will see this beautiful mermaid woman would just come up out of the river, out of the sea, or whatever have you. And the men, she'd be so beautiful, the men would automatically, she beckons them on and entice them, and they would automatically try to get busy with her. And she would take them under the water, and they'd never be seen again. Now these are true accounts of this mermaid deity from the Caribbean. So the piece that I got, where they say kills men and kills people, I said, no, I don't need it. That's her ferocious side. But anyway, this mermaid deity, they have accounts of her doing this all over the Caribbean, where she would come up on the sea and entice these men and take them down as a lover for life. Now the key here is, and probably isn't, it doesn't necessarily have anything probably to do where she corresponds to them based on how physically, sexually you are, sexy you are, or physical attraction. I think it has something to do with your soul and your spirit. You know, she's chiming off of your soul and your spirit, you see what I'm saying? That kind of thing. Good thing I was in the bed because I got visited by her and Oshun broke me off some booty back in the early 2000s and stuff. We was rolling and all, even had a little fight. We had a fight going on between Oshun, which is the daughter, and the mama Hemmitt and stuff. So they came through and broke me off some. Well, you know, you can do that. You can commune with the spirits. As a matter of fact, that's the next level for you to empower you to get back to that God level. If we are nothing but gods in the physical, then you can commune with the gods. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, it's quite excellent. But it got into a fight because I had, at this time, I was in between my former queen and the sister I'm with now. So I had this moment of play. You know what I'm saying? Well, I lined up a bunch of ladies on the roster. You see what I'm saying? And we had a good jamboree time for about 4 or 5 years. And it got to the point where it started happening where I would have one sister over, and if this sister was an Oshun girl, she would have problems with Hemmitt. If I have another sister over and she was a Hemmitt girl, they would have problems with Oshun. And they would come in and let shit be known. To show you communing in the spirit. Now this is nothing that is out of the ordinary if you understand the science of it. This is the next level of where we are going. Of where we're going. Let me give you some things that might pop in your head. You should be at this particular time understand that sex is really an unfulfilling process in the particular aspect that you're always running after it and it never stays around. What I'm trying to say here is this. There's got to be a point where as you want something permanent, a permanent state of bliss. Not, you know what I'm saying? You know, after so many years, you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't be turned on or you shouldn't be excited about having sex in a particular aspect on a certain level. There's supposed to be several levels where you go spiritually, that you're supposed to rise to another level, whereas you want that bliss all the time, or you want that bliss to be something that is transformed. We'll go into that. I'm going ahead of myself. We'll go into that. It's called transcendent love or transcendent sex, whereas you get a complete wholeness, and that's when you become God, where the access is through the thought process and also through a whole other world that you got no control over than just trying to run around and have sex with somebody. So I'm going ahead of myself, so we're going to get into that transcendent type thing. And some of you people that feel a little unfulfilled, you might not even have a mate. That is for a reason. Because there's another realm you're supposed to be dealing with this stuff on, and you still looking at the lowest realm. You understand what I'm saying? Which is hit or miss. You see, it's a fleeting moment compared to the bliss where you're supposed to be going. We'll go back into that. We'll go back into that. But this family fight went on between Oshun and and Hemmitt, and it played out until we was up in New York City, and there was a sister Kimberly that was living in Long Island at the time, because she was from Long Island. She used to live in Atlanta. She since then moved back to Atlanta. As a matter of fact, she moved back a few days later, and it was a sister, my business partner at that time, the sister Delbert. She had come up to New York on a business thing. We used to do some stuff. We used to be in business together. And so what we had to do, we had to go to Montauk, Long Island, Montauk Point, Long Island, because this Hemmitt and this Oshun thing had gotten in a little tug of war. Now, meanwhile, these are rituals and systems that you have to go through for initiation. So we had to go to Montauk Point, Long Island, and put a blessing in the water for Oshun, and put a blessing in the water for Hemmitt. So one of the sisters had to act as Oshun, the other sister had to act as Hemmitt as a role playing, and we had to put these fruits, flowers, vegetables, or whatever kind of offering in the water, things they like, colors in the water for these two goddesses. 2 days later, here's the two goddesses, here is 2 days later, 2 towers fell, 9/11. Now, I was traveling all over the country, and people would come up to me and go, no, I saw a tug of war between 2 spirits when the 9/11 thing happened. And it took me last month to figure this out, that tug of war of 2 entities or energies was those 2 goddesses, which represented 2 towers. And ever since 9/11, I have heard people come up to me and say, no, I saw a vision of 2 forces battling when those towers was falling. Then we get this whole thing with these 2 goddesses. Now, it's not like these goddesses are enemies, but they are playing out a role for a certain amount of energies to come through to the planet, or principalities. You see what I'm saying? So this great mother paid close attention to her, and when we go into this Dogon thing, when we go into this particular Dogon aspect, she's going to show back up again. We're going to try to tie in some of these types of things. What I want to do is I'm going to post some libations. Now, what I do as research now is I don't go and just get a whole lot of scholarship and start researching on it. I had to do a lot of that in the 90s. I had to come with big bags of books, because there was a lot of system that our people that we had to re-blacken, because they had taken all of this mystery system that was brought up to Europe by the Moors, and and they preserved it after the Moors was ousted. And during that time of this particular all this material, they ended up separating it. One became general education, and one became the occult. And then the occult became the New Age. And the New Age was nothing but a homogenized form of their mystery system with a white face. So what we had to do for almost 12, 13 painstaking years was to go in and re-blacken this stuff. Oh, you know, something like King Arthur and Guinevere. That's Isis and Osiris. You see what I'm saying? Which they got text of that book, Rundle and Clark's book, Egyptian Myths and Symbols, says that this whole Arthurian King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table, comes straight out of Kemet. So we had to reclassify stuff that you was thinking that was European. It was just the preserved information coming from the 16 universities from Spain and all across Europe that later on became the occult. And then somewhere in the late 70s and early 80s, it became the New Age, which was nothing but the mystery system. And I remember this good. I walked into a metaphysical bookstore, and I said, "Who is this book, this Hermetic stuff I'm always hearing?" And the white guy said, that is Hermes, which is the Egyptian Tahuti. I said, I got it. That means all this shit in here is Camite. And over this, we had to do a lot of reclassifying. I had to do a lot of things thinking. I got over 300 DVDs or videos at 6 and 7 hours. But in the 90s, it was 7 hours, 8 hours.
Right.
I was doing them kind of marathons. Did 10 hours in LA. So it was 7 hours, 8 hours. Then in the 2000s, it went to 5 and 6. But what happened was I had to give all this particular information. Then, around the millennium, what had started happening was I tapped into a spirit world. I became more funny, because if you go in the 90s, I was real serious. I was funny, but I was real serious. Then, in what's called, I just became hilarious. You see what I'm saying? That was the spirit. So I started going through my own initiation. Now, as a result, now, because I don't have to deal with, because I laid down so much of scholarship, the stuff that I'm on now is what the spirit comes through. So about 2.5 months ago, the Archangel Raphael came through. And then the 4 other archangels, Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, and Uriel. Now we know 100 years before the last temple was closed, the temple of Isis at Philae, 100 years before that, what the Egyptian priests did is translated from the Netters and Metanetta from the gods. They translated it into Hebrew, Latin, Greek, Aramaic, Coptic, and all the existing Arabic, all the existing languages around that whole Mediterranean world. You see what I'm saying? They copied the Metanetta. So we know that, and you know the white folks had a conference in 91 called the Alexandrian Conference, where this is exactly what they talked about, how the Egyptians translated all of this text into the existing languages, because they knew prophecy. They knew that Metanetta wouldn't be around. They knew it was going to fall into a dead language until it was resurrected again, partly by Champollion, but completely by a black man from Chicago. That the Egyptologist Rickety Wimby talks about, that they could not translate it. He translated some vowels, well, not some vowels, he translated a couple of things, but they couldn't get the grammar, they couldn't get the language, they couldn't really break the keys. And they got a Negro off the street. And he came in and just translated from genetic memory lane. Just like we got a brother named Yehoshua, learned Hebrew in a week. That's how I know it's a black language. Learned Hebrew in a week, and the rabbis at Boston University got him to start teaching them, because there's certain things they couldn't see the glyphs without having the melanin. You see what I'm saying? So they translated a lot of stuff from Netters became the archangels. So Raphael is Tahuti. Michael is a form of Amun-Ra and Heru. Gabriel could be a cross between Tahuti and a cross between music deities. It would be Sarasvati in India, and that would be a form of Mayat in Kemet. And you got Uriel, which we can trace her to be a form of Oya in Yoruba, and probably another storm goddess in Egypt. So we can see that these archangels was actually a creation or a recreation from the Egyptian priests. As a matter of fact, we now know that the archangels come from Cush. They come from Cush. We have a picture of one of the heads of the archangels. We're going to go back into this. We've got a polarization. This is a fragment from the Coptic text. This person you can see clearly has an afro. the Ricky Silvers, you know what I'm saying, Jermaine Jackson, I think he had the biggest throat. You can clearly see that. This is a deity, and this is a fragment of a deity, because we want to celebrate on Mother's Day. Let me get this. Drusilla Dundee Houston's book, Wonderful Ethiopians and the Ancient Kushite Empire. Wonderful Ethiopians and the Ancient Kushite Empire. This book's still in print. Anybody else see this book?
Yes, it's still in print.
This woman wrote this book, a black woman, in 1926. And it is still the definitive text on anything based on Ethiopia and Kush that goes all the way up into East India. Goes all the way up into East India. You can visit an East Indian restaurant, and you can visit an Ethiopian restaurant, and you will see similarities of the same cultures to let you know that it was all the Kushite Empire. In this particular book, Drusilla Dundee Houston's book, is one of the books, and you can tell when a book is on the money, when they can't find scholarship to touch it after 80-something years. Wonderful Ethiopian in the Ancient Kushite Empire, where all of that was Kush. Ethiopia, Egypt, Samaria, Mesopotamia, Turkey, Chile, Pakistan, Afghanistan, East India, probably all the way up into Tibet. And she covered that in it, so we celebrate this woman. This sister did this in 1926. In 1926, we were still walking around with chewing tobacco. You see what I'm saying? And a hall was our best friend. Now, so we say that and give praises to this that came up, this deity. So what happens is, I'm going to set the tone. My research now is what spiritual entity shows up. That way, I don't deal with stuff, I can deal with stuff that works. I don't have to have a guessing game based on random scholarship or some stuff that might be outmoded. So I wait on the deity to show up. Well, when y'all ready for me to deal with some stuff that show up, this deity showed up about 3 months ago. His name is Akhenaten. Akhenaten the Ethiopian. Akhenaten the Ethiopian. Now, I had this book about 15, 16 years ago and used this book randomly on numerous occasions and never saw the deity. That means that the deity will reveal itself at an allotted time. So what happens? I get these books. They give me what I want out of the books. But if I didn't see this deity in 15 years and it shows up in March of this year, that meant that this deity only was supposed to show up March of this year. Now this is a book called Ancient Christian Magic, the Coptic Texts and Rituals of Power. Ancient Christian Magic by Marvin Mayer, M-E-Y-E-R, and Richard Smith. Marvin Mayer, they edited these texts. So what happened was that they dug up these Nag Hammadi texts in 1945. They didn't translate these texts, these Coptic texts, until 1977. But what they found out was what accompanied these Gnostic texts, or Coptic texts, which is the precursor to Christianity, what accompanied them was all these magical texts. So a lot of the scholars, they left the magical texts out. They didn't deal with them because that would take it back to ancient Kemet or ancient Africa. You see, they wanted it to resemble the later day Christianity, which is a copy of an earlier Christianity started in Egypt. But later day Christianity wouldn't be accompanied with all this magical text. So as a result, they had to shelve it. Then in the 90s, they come out secretly with all of the magical Coptic texts. And then there shows up Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, Uriel, And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the text is a deity called Natar. So what we're dealing with, and I had to do a whole lecture on this thing. Last, I think it was on April the 4th. Was that the time? When did Martin Luther King die? April 4th. Yes. And so somehow the actual date fell on that day that I did this thing, celebrating a picture, because we've always heard that Ethiopia is the mother of Egypt. But we don't have a lot of information on what are those gods. So there was a god called Orseti that a woman channels down in Ethiopia, and the National Geographic showed this woman's story. She channels Orseti. But this one, Natar, is the head deity over the other archangels. His name is Metatron, later on in the Kabbalistic sphere. This is Natar. We're going to get back into him. But what you're looking at here is, and I should have blew up one of these to sell. It's a fragment, but it's an actual ancient picture of a deity that predates Egypt. An Ethiopian Cushite deity called Natar. A-K-N-A-T-O-R, the Ethiopian. Write that down and call on this deity, because this deity is coming back this summer. We'll get back into that. Coming back this summer. Y'all all right? This is very important research and information. So now, what I deal with, and so during the time of Natar's rise, then Gabriel comes back. Raphael, Uriel, Michael, especially Raphael, which means, you know, our people, the dead people, the Christians, even the Muslims or whoever, they might not get with Hemmitt, but you start mentioning them archangels, they go, oh, I've heard about that sometime in my life. That means we're talking about a synthesis from the people that know the advanced knowledge and the people that are still in the church and still in different traditions. There's a common link, and you can deal with them through these angels because these shits is real. But you must understand, this is not a creation of Christianity. This is a creation of Ethiopian or Cushite, Camite knowledge. And these deities are shown back up. We're going to get into them also. And they have brought an economic stimulus package we're going to deal with today. We're going to deal with today in a few minutes. This economic stimulus package, I'm going to show you how this thing works. All you got to do is pay $5 for a check that I'm going to sell you, and it's going to be on. Now, in order to make this thing work, what we have to do is, the shit is real. I'm telling you. I got a couple of little gifts we're going to get into. We're going to get into that is going to be some stuff that you can benefit from. Now, the white folks gave me this. See, white folks started treating me like an angel, me and my queen, like kings and queens back in 2007. But I've always been out incognito with white folks, which meant is, when you see me around white folks, I'm just a laughing and a grinning. But I'm incognito. As a result, my mama taught me that. My mama be driving down the street. She was a school teacher. She said, watch these white folks when they see me, they gonna damn near wreck the car. They loved her, they loved her ass. And when she died, white folks showed up at the wake. It was like, shit. Your mama was telling me shit when we couldn't even talk to black people. You know, we was communicating. The point I'm trying to make here is, they deal with us every day and we never know what they into. Remember, I went to a UFO Illuminati convention, conspiracy, UFO, all of that, went to a convention. And the guy who was putting on the convention came up to me and said, hey man, don't you know me? White man. I said, you the Pepsi Cola man. Every day in the AU Center, them 5 schools, He delivered Pepsi Cola at the fill up the vending machines and at a store I used to work. I said, "You a Pepsi Cola man?" He said, "You never know who you're talking to." So they always amongst us incognito. So I don't let them know what I am. So I go there just as happy and gullible, and they give me secrets. They feel the energy, they reveal. So they gave me this check. I believe shit, white folks are dealing with this shit. And they got money. I said I need to deal with that. You understand what I'm saying? Meanwhile, they didn't really give me the check. The spirit realm facilitated this particular information. You see what I'm saying? So Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, Awas, Agnatar. I do the thing on Agnatar 1 week, the Ethiopian angel, he's called. I do it 1 week, the next week, I get the check. Alright? We're gonna go through this stuff. You know you ain't never heard him pitch no shit about no money. So obviously I got to be on it. Now, what we need to do, if you see there's a black and white picture on the wall, I've been showing this about a year. This is called a signature of healing. It's just a silhouette of an angel. Actually, it's the god Raphael, the god of healing. The god Raphael, the god of healing. It's the god of healing. Now, this particular deity, I didn't give it out myself because I didn't think that the black and white thing would work. It cost too much to produce the shit in color. But it was like, nah, it's the energy in the image. And as a result, I introduced this again as something to sell in Detroit. And I'll show this to you to let you know this stuff works. See if I can find this. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay. But what we're dealing with now, we sent this out to a sister out in New Mexico, put it over her bed. She was dying of cancer. Shit went into remission and left the planet. You see? And left the planet. See if I can find any of those spirit pictures, but then I bring some with me. Turned into a remission and left the planet. Anyway, to make a long story short, I introduced these into Detroit. I didn't bring them, but had something to see something. I didn't bring them. You might have one in your, I might have gave you, look in your thing and see if you got one of those spirit pictures. Anyway, I introduced this particular thing in Detroit. I did a connection in Cleveland the next week to print up some more of them. And so to let me know that it is real and it was activated, it showed up in the Xerox machine or the copy machine. Now what happens in the copy machine is this. Anybody know anything about a copier? It scans the first picture and then it starts copying from the scan. Well, what this started doing, these little light figures started getting into the pictures, and as a result of getting into the pictures, each picture was different. That means there's a spirit that shows up. And so what it meant was, I activated that particular spirit in Detroit. And it did it on 2 pictures. Let me see if I can find it. It was on this one and this one. Now this one is a picture of a Buddhist altar of the goddess Tara. Now apparently, if you was to purchase one of these, it's so powerful. Look, now let me go back. If you was to purchase one of these and you put it over your bed, it could heal anything. Come to find out, we didn't find out until about a week ago that it was the archangel Raphael. Let me show these two. Let me show these two. Now, you can look on the wall, you'll see a Buddhist temple, and you can see right beside it the signature of healing. To show you that when they're activated, this is how it shows up. It has lines in it. But if let's say it was a malfunction and it scanned the first copy, that means that each copy that it does with the malfunction should be the same. Every copy is different. So this one, when you see this is a spirit. So you're literally taking a spirit is showing up. Now this first happened to me after Katrina. I was xeroxing a picture of the goddess Urzuli, and these things came in the picture first. I said, damn, this machine is messing up. And then I went to another machine and got my pictures done, but I kept those pictures, and I realized on the way driving home that these were spirits within the pictures. You see what I'm saying? So that means they're activated. So what we want to do is to activate this check. And then we're going to go into the science of this check, this angelic check, sent to you by this God, as well as Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, so about damn near 100 of them angels. So you can't, so it's simple. You can't accuse Egyptians of having multiple deities, so you have to change the deities to archangels. It's a simple process. You get what's going on here? You know that it's not going to work now unless you have the whole host. So what you do is you change the deities of the letters to archangels. Simple process. So as a result of changing the letters to archangels, you can say that the Egyptians was polytheistic. You polytheistic too, it's just yours are angels. Or you go to Islam, it's all a play on words. Because the archangels are in Judaism and Christianity, as well as Islam, because Gabriel is the one that so-called brought the Quran. But it becomes the 99 attributes of Allah. You see, it's just a play on words, and that way you can keep the multi-deity system, because that is the only way you get to know God. Otherwise you just deaf, dumb, and blind. God in the sky, you think He's looking down on you. You see what I'm saying? So I don't need to curse, or, I don't need to wear that short dress, and all kind of dumb shit. The key here is they changed those letters to archangels. And we come to find out the Egyptian priests were the ones that did it. They saw the whole thing. And they gave them the template, and they went out and later on did what they did. But there's seven major archangels. There's four major ones. Raphael, Michael, Gabriel, and Uriel, which represents the north, south, east, and west, and the four elements. Why do you think it's sunshiny today? It was supposed to pour down today, and I'm like, look now, we coming to talk about your ass today, the four elements. Now I know damn well you're going to do something about this rain. I said, well, better yet, we don't even want overcast, because that can deter black people from coming out. We want sunshine. Now, if you check the weather forecast, it's supposed to rain today. That's the archangels. You see what I'm saying? Now, so we deal with stuff that shows up. So these four archangels, especially Raphael, showed up. So that's what we bring to the people. That way you stay online on shit that works. You see what I'm saying? So we don't have, I have to come to you and say, I'm bowing to Allah, I'm going to put on a turban. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to that outmoded magic. We need to find out the magic is working. So what we're dealing with is still tracking the Egyptian letters, but they're coming in different forms. So it might be Yoruba, it might be Voodoo, it might be East Indian. You see what I'm saying? They said, no, well, about a year ago, the Egyptian Jesus, which never existed in history. There was an Egyptian Jesus that the later day Coptic, which was later day Egyptians, concocted a new form of Horus. That was later historicalized. But he said people threw out the historical Jesus, rightfully so, because it didn't exist. But as a result, you swept the baby out of the bathwater because there's an Egypto-Gnostic Jesus. And that is a concept which is in all of us, the pineal gland. They even got pineal as an angel in the dictionary of angels. Pineal. We'll get into this. You see. So there's 4 books by a guy by the name of Richard Webster from New Zealand. You can order these books, or you can go to a metaphysical book. There's one on Michael, one on Gabriel, one on Uriel, and one on Raphael. 4 books you can order, and you can also get his Dictionary of Angels, Encyclopedia of Angels by Richard Webster. And in here, one of the angels is the pineal. You heard about Jacob wrestling with the angel all night, and in daybreak he saw the face of God, which was called what? Pineal. That's an angel. Which is telling you what are the angels? The angels are nothing but the 160 chakras in your body, are angles of light. Okay? Angles of light. You see, so we have to take this stuff and bring it to its scientific and metaphysical aspect. You see, so we deal with what shows up. So this guy Richard Webster has 4 books out in print: Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, and Uriel, and the Encyclopedia of Angels. Get these books, because this is what we're going to be dealing with. Because there's another one that's on its way called Raphael, which is also a return of this Akhenaten, this Ethiopian angel, in June. And he coming with the sword. He's already showed up. Because it's not. It doesn't come by the way of some guy coming on a white horse cutting your head off. It comes on the collapse of the economy overnight. That's a Raphael. But we're talking about forces that has to do with the astronomical, astrological signs and the inner worlds, which is stuff that's inside of us. You are creating this energy that you're seeing now. That's why you don't need to be scared about it. You see. Now, I got a few of these because when Raphael showed up, 2 things I want to deal with right quickly. I want to deal with before the break. So like I said, I got a bunch of these checks. That's right. A bunch of these checks. White folks gave me this. You say, well, why do white folks get it? Because they know black people ain't going to research shit. The angels and all that, they ain't going to deal with you. They give it to white folks. They publish books, have conventions. Money is no object. You know, you get some shit, you go stand out on the corner, cussing out everybody who don't be on your level. Getting in arguments. See what I'm saying? So they give it to the Europeans, but the Europeans have ways to promote this stuff. To, you see, expose this stuff. You see, that's how the thing works down here. So, this thing right here, you see what I'm saying, is very valuable. Now, to show you how valuable it is, there's another piece to go with it. We'll get in that in a few minutes. We're going to deal with these checks. Everybody need to get you an angelic stimulus package from this Ethiopian deity. Akhenaten angelic stimulus package. Y'all down? I mean, hell, this is your ancestors. See, the ancestors talk to us. All right? A lot of times, we want to get it the way we want to get it. But we're talking about money now, so goddamn it, for $5, I think you need to listen. All right? Now, I'm just giving you stuff that works. I'm just giving you stuff. You never heard me talk about give you no stuff on my money. So if I'm giving you stuff on money, you know damn well I must have tapped in. You understand? understand what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to show you how this stuff works. Now, when you get this check, you can only, the angelic host say, look, because I got a Erzuli ritual, took it to Cleveland, gave it to the girl. I come back 2 months later, it didn't work. Why it didn't work? I said, how much did you ask for? $10 million. I said, wait a minute, if Erzuli could give you $10 million, there wouldn't be a broke nigga in Haiti. $10 million. The other girl said, I asked for $20 million. I said, you sick niggas? So the first thing I did, I said, wait a minute, now you done reveal this check to me. We need to go to the channel realm, and we need to have these angelic hosts come down and talk to us and tell us what's the maximum. And the maximum, they say, tell us to put $2,500 on the check. All right? Now, this check, let me get my check. This check, oh yeah, hold on. Good thing I got the real ones. Hold on with me. Y'all all right?
Yeah.
No, we dealing for real now. But I know shit is hard out here. You know, gas bill alone should make a nigga want to move to another planet. My gas bill $600 damn dollars, and I know damn well we cut it off last month. That means they bill your ass according to the rates based on that month. They say, well, shit is supposed to be $600 until we decide later on in June we're gonna cut it down. Y'all all right? When you dealing with this angelic check, it has an A infinity in the corner, which means it's going to be an unlimited $2,500. So you don't need no more than the $2,500 because it's going to constantly come. So don't come up and buy 2 checks. That's not $2,500. That's $5,000. See what I'm saying? You see, you want to, don't come up and buy 2 checks. Get 1 check. Now, what you can do is you can buy your honey pie or somebody else in your family a check. You see what I'm saying? That's a different thing. You see what I'm coming from here? Now, y'all all right? Yeah. Okay, because what it is, stuff's revealed, but we got to start listening. This ain't nothing but our ancestors coming to us. Stuff that we have long since separated ourselves from. You see? That we got to get back into. Y'all all right? Yeah. All right. Well, I'm proud. You might say that nigga crazy, but you at least, when it comes to some money, you can say, well, goddamn, I can spend $5 on a pipe dream. So he's worth that. Now, let me show you something else. Y'all all right? Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of things now. I'm doing my Devil Blade infomercial on your ass. You know, he give you an infomercial before he starts, about 2 hours before he starts the lecture. This is the magical number 8. Did you see in the corner? Now, I did a tape called Akhenaten, the Ethiopian. And this number 8, you take this shit and you put it in your wallet. And what this thing does, the money will return to you. Let me give you, to clarify this thing, let me give you a synopsis on how I come by this so it don't look like I'm making up some shit. All right? This number 8 came from a sister that gave me a reading. She heard me on Blog Talk Radio. She lives out in California. I gave her a reading, and after I gave her a reading, she gave us this. Well, let me do it 8 first. She gave it, the 8 came along with some other thing. She said, I'm going to send you some 8s, put the 8 in your wallet, and the money will return. Well, it got so funky till when I was in the last lecture on April the 4th, which is 4/4, ain't it? That's 8. In the lecture, a fucking $100 bill appeared in my wallet, and we got the shit on film. I said, damn, Linda, where did shit come from? I didn't have no $100 bill. That's why I'm in the election, trying to get some money. So you put this 8, you know they say like money don't turn around in the black community. Well, what you want to do is put this 8 in your wallet. Look, I'm just going about what spirits do. This woman called us up. That's the spirit. She said, I'm going to send you some 8s. Now that means, see, this is what happened with the spirit world. It means that you at the crossroads. You can analyze it in analytical ability and say, that's some bullshit. But then you miss the blessing, because the spirit realm gonna come on a humble way, so humble and so simple, until if you ain't humble enough, you miss the blessing. That's right. See how that goes? Right. You know, it's like your grandmama used to tell you some shit, I don't want to hear that shit. You know? But the stuff worked. You see? So, the sister sent the 8s. Put the 8 in the wallet, money started returning. You see what I'm saying? Money started returning. So you need to get you an 8 for $5. Now you're saying that's crazy. No, it's not crazy. Because what it is, it's just like a Yoda. Some little man on the side of the street selling you some shit, and if you're arrogant enough, you dismiss it. You see what I'm saying? But we don't understand our own spirituality, so you get you an 8, you get you a check. Now, the sister, when I did her reading, she said, I want to send you a purple disc. I don't get sick no more. I can't go to sleep. I got energy. I got stamina, and it wipes away your stress. And then after it does that, it starts healing you with cancer and all this. So I want to get this purple disc. Send you these discs. I said, yeah, okay. After 17 years of election, I done had all kind of shit people that gave me on the road. Okay, she sent me the disc. And it's no joke. This is called a purple plate. I got about, I don't know, I might have about a good 14, 15. So, first come, first serve. You got the purple plate on. Now, you got the purple plate on.
Yeah, I got it.
You know what time it is.
I got it.
Send this purple plate. Now, this stuff was created by Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla used to, and C3 Manel used to talk about how Nikola Tesla, he invented the radio, the TV, and a whole lot of inventions. But what he used to do was go up on the astral plane into what is called the acoustic records and bring down these designs. Now that's not as far-fetched. I knew a crackhead used to work on Mercedes-Benz back in the late 80s. They said, wait a minute, niggas had to learn how to work. It was years before we learned how to work on BMWs and stuff. This crackhead used to work on BMWs on the side of the road. And I said, man, how do you do that? He said, look, man, all I know is I pray to God at night, I ask him to help me, and I go to sleep. When I wake up, the design is in my head blueprint. He said, I got so good till I touched the woman's car and the car cut on. You see what I'm saying? So that's the type of stuff we're dealing with spiritually. So now, Nikola Tesla used to go to the astral realm. And he used to get these designs. You saw him in the movie Prestige. David Bowie played Nikola Tesla. Nikolai Tesla. So he created some stuff called tachyon energy. And so this purple plate energy, but what he did, he got it from the 9th dimension. The 9th dimension consists of Gabriel, Raphael, Michael, Uriel. Here's a picture of Raphael in the tarot card, the lovers. Tarot card, as you know, comes out of Hemmitt. The lovers. These two figures are looking up in the clouds, and they're thinking what they're seeing up in the clouds they're thinking it's clouds, but above the cloud is actually an angel Raphael. Don't mind the white face. People who want to explain the deity to their people should paint the face in there, whoever's giving it. If the white man should paint a white face, that's effective on his people. You understand what I'm saying? You the people don't do that, so don't worry about them if they do it. We know that this heart goes all the way back. These were Egyptian deities. So this is the archangel Raphael, and they're looking up at the cloud, but they're looking at his robe, which is a purple robe. Purple color of Osiris. Osiris is called Lazarus, raised from the dead. Horus raises Osiris, his father, from the dead. Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. They got a deity that the Mexicans worship called Saint Lazarus. He got on a purple robe because purple is the color of Osiris. And purple is the stuff that if any, and like in Secret Manel used to tell women this, if you feel you're going to be in danger, wear purple. Because if you wear purple, nobody can rape you, they can't mug you, they can't do shit. You see what I'm saying? Wear purple. Purple is healing. So, the realm where this thing comes from, this is Raphael's robe. When the sister sent the purple disc, she sent a seal of Raphael, a little pendant of Raphael to put over the door. That's the god Tahuti in Egypt. God of healing, God of magic. You see, the god Tahuti in Kemet. So he has a purple robe, so as a result, you say, why is this? The thing about it is you can look at Techion image. Go look, type in Techion image and read all the scientific stuff. That is for the scientific people to understand what this is. But the spiritual thing is he got it off the ninth dimension, and the dimension he got it from, there's no disease. You see what I'm saying? There's no stress. There's no fatigue. So as a result, you tap into that dimension. You get where I'm coming from here? Thus, this is how this stuff works. So, it'll wipe away the fatigue, it'll wipe away the stress, and then by the second week, you stop eating. You see? And it starts to heal. So we want to get rid of some of these. If people want to pay $25, and then when we run out, I'll give you a website. I ain't gonna do it until I sell these, goddamn it. You see, you know. So we got this. Now, this check is gonna come. This check, you're gonna write on this check. Y'all all right?
Yeah.
Because we're still teaching science in the infomercial because I'm explaining how it works. But we want to do this before the break because we want you to come up and purchase this thing. In this check, you're going to write $2,500 on that line. You're going to sign it to yourself. Thus, I signed it, Bobby Hemmitt. You see what I'm saying? So you sign it, pay to the order of Bobby Hemmitt. It would be Robert Hemmitt in the financial world, but since you know me as Bobby Hemmitt, pay to the order of Bobby Hemmitt $2,500, and you sign up that $2,500. Then instead of putting when, you put now. The date you put now. So for me, it was spiritual supplies. Just give you can say what you want. I need it for this. And then it says, your holy guardian angel. And what you're going to do is you're going to write whatever your holy guardian angel is on this slip of paper. Every month, if you are born between February 8th to the 12th, your guardian angel is Moni Quarel. If you're born between March 5th, your guardian angel is Ha-Yi-El. So there's a list of guardian angels that set over every month, a sequence of several months or whatever your birthday is. There's a guardian angel that comes. So you're going to take the guardian angel from this and write on the check. See what I'm saying? Now, if you do this, you're going to have a constant flow. So this is subsequent money. Don't be looking for no career shit. This is to help you out where you got an easy flow of $2,500 constantly coming. You understand what I'm saying? To take care of some stuff, to take some slack off. You understand where I'm coming from? Let's say you're making your money and you're doing what you're going to do. I don't give a damn. $2,500 still will help your ass. Right. See what I'm saying? You know, get some Haagen Dazs or what the fuck ever, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it's for, that still will help you, right? I don't care, everybody needs it. Ain't nobody up in here this rich. You see what I'm saying? You can take me out of there. Now, so you get the gist of this. So you want to get the 8, put it in your wallet. You want to get the check. You need to get a list of this. I think I might have enough. If not, we'll write your name on your check while we're here. You see what I'm saying? Then I'm going to give you a list of the book this came out of. And you want to go to the internet and you want to go to the internet and you want to look up the book where this came out of. So you want to read further in on your guardian angel. I'm just giving you the name. You want to research him and find out there's a book called Angel Signs by Albert Haldane, Haldane, and Sima, S-I-M-A, Soria, S-E-R-A-Y-A. I want to put that on the table. It's called Angel Signs by Albert Haldane, H-A-L-D-A-N-E, and Samia, S-E-M-I-A, S-E-R-A-Y-A, excuse me. So you want to go on the internet and look up angel signs, and that way you can read more information on that guardian angel that set over your birthday. But right now, you just need his name to sign on that check. Y'all getting this? Y'all all right? All right, I'm going to do this thing here now, because, you know, somebody got to have some relief. So I got some purple plates, I got the checks, and I got the 8. Now, if you in need of healing, that angel on that wall, put it over your bed, you ain't got to worry about nothing. You also have that altar, you don't have to worry about nothing with that altar. The other thing is 2 skeleton figures bearing Somni. He's the god of the dead that sets over the underworld for protection. Another one is the king cut down there, the one that they don't show but every 20-something years because it has real eyes. That's for protection and that's for healing. And up there is a picture of a picture of Shango that was drawn 17 years ago with the face of Barack Obama. And the word Barack means lightning. So the face of Barack Obama drawn 17 years ago by the Santeria community that has Barack Obama's face on it. And Barack means lightning. This one here, as you can see, this was drawn 17 years ago with Barack Obama's face on Shango. You see? So what happened was recently they tried to kill Obama. What they did was they had a strain of this swine flu that they mixed up in the lab. They infected one of the members of this summit that Obama was going to be in this summit in Mexico. Obama met the guy, shook his hand, hugged on him, did the summit, flew out, 2 days later the guy dies. And this viral strain of flu started killing up people in Mexico. Over 100 people died in Mexico. So what they didn't realize is that Barack Obama had gone to Trinidad the week before. Barack Obama spent part of his life in Indonesia. They worship a god in Indonesia, Taiwan, India, China, Vietnam, all over the Asian region. They worship the Monkey King. The Monkey King is the East Indian deity originally called Hemmitt. Barack Obama, going to school in Indonesia, knew that this was very prominent with the Monkey King. So he has a Monkey King tattooed on him of Hemmitt. Hemmitt is an East Indian form of Tahuti and Anubis combined, Hermanubis. He has a chain bracelet with Hemmitt. Now, the people in Trinidad is a mixture of East Indian people and blacks, or what you call plant or what have you over in that region. But they got a big statue of the god Hemmitt in Trinidad. So when he went to Trinidad the week before, he got fortified. So then he goes to Mexico. They try to do the germ warfare on him. It don't take. The host ends up dying. Barack Obama ends up unscathed. Then they go to run to America to camouflage it and give the people here some regular strain of flu that can be cured in 24 hours by Tamiflu. And Tamiflu is owned by Rumsfeld. Rumsfeld, you know, used to be over the Pentagon and all that. So we talk about a money-making thing. You see what I'm saying? We talk about a money-making thing. So they set up this whole hoax thing, but what they wanted to do was they wanted to kill Obama and then start a pandemic. But it didn't work, so they had to quarantine Mexico and then do a little flu scared shit here before it peters out. But even in Mexico, if it was done in the lab, they had the cure for that too. And they had to go in and start curing people in Mexico before it wiped them out. But the key was to kill Obama. You see what I'm saying? And blame this thing on some pandemic flu thing. We're going to go to a break. Any questions right quick before we go to a break? What's that, sister? Yeah, had it for years. Yeah, oh yeah. Dr. Sagan's common household word for people in the consciousness. Been dealing with him for years. As a matter of fact, Dr. Sagan was one of the people when Teddy Pendergrass first got in his car wreck back in 1982. Dr. Sagan was working with him and he was making progress. He was making progress. But as our minds, we think that the white man is synonymous to healing and good medicine. And he went with the white boys and ain't walked since 82. You see what I'm saying? Walked since 82. So like I'm trying to say, there's nothing that can't be cured. There's nothing that can't be cured. You see what I'm saying? So that's the we know, you know, that whole left eye was down there and ended up, you know, but it was spiritual. She knew that she was gonna go. It was just her time to ascend. Let me give you an example. Before we go to a break, let me give you an example of how stuff works. You don't believe the white man believes. Now, they took Aaliyah out at 22, or even she just appeared at 22, and then they used her for experiments. You heard a quick Amuto I talk about how you take a young girl and put in the bed with an old man, and they take up the energy. And he sucks up the energy and get healed by it. They showed you that on an episode of South Park when they go around and screw these young children and they get healed by the energy. The sister named Ella down in Atlanta told me that that's in the Bible. They got a part in the Bible. They took a young girl and put in the bed with an old man and get that energy. So apparently they have certain experiments on Aaliyah. But she disappeared at 22. All right. They got a white boy named Chris Isaac. Used to look like Elvis. Did a couple of things in a little music in the 1980s. But if they like your image, they'll keep you around. So now he got a show on Biography Channel where he interviews rock stars and all, you know. So he had what's your girl name on there? From Fleetwood Mac. What's the girl? Stevie Nicks. Had Stevie Nicks on his show. Oh, Stevie Nicks said, I don't want a computer. I don't want a cell phone. And I got a group of people to dress up like Stevie Nicks on Halloween night, the night of 1,000 Stevies. And they dress up and imitate me through my errors. And then he said, well, that's what I want to lead into. We heard that you were a witch. She said, no, I'm not. You know damn well Stevie Nicks is a fucking witch. With her. Wise woman. of ISIS or Osset. That's our stuff that you've been learning to be scared of. ISIS worship, what this stuff is. So she said, no, I'm not a witch. But this is what she said. I wrote a song called Rihanna the Witch a couple of years ago, and that's why they call me a witch now. Now listen. She said, every now and then the Spirit will reveal stuff. She said, I wrote a song called Rihanna the Witch a couple of years ago, and that's why they call me a witch. But she said, I'm going to do my next Led Zeppelin tune, and she comes out with a top hat on. That's this particular entity here called Baron Somni that is making a major impact right now. The voodoo form of Osiris. So she comes out with a top hat on. Anybody been hearing me the last couple of months been dealing with this? Hell, I even wore a top hat in my last 3 lectures. In my last 3 lectures. Anyway, she comes out with a top hat on. Now, I'm supposed to, you know, this is the deity, Baron Somni, the voodoo deity with the top hat on and the skeleton. Now listen, which is the form of Osiris. Baron Somni means Saturday. Saturday is ruled by Saturn, the Sabbath. So you got Osiris or Osar in Egypt. Then you got a god in later Egypt, Coptic Egypt, called Osiriothus. It's another name for Osiris. And in the later form of Egypt, he becomes Sabbath. It's a god called Sabbath. That's where you get the Sabbath from. Saturday, the Sabbath. That's the god Baron Somni. That's a form of Osiris that the voodoo people worship in the 1800s, and they gave him the top hat because Abraham Lincoln wore a top hat, and he was known as the great emancipator. So they gave him the top hat to venerate the admiration of this Christ figure, Baron Somni. Y'all all right? So she comes out with the top hat on. She comes out with the top hat on to do her last number. Now let me go into this. She said, well, I wrote a thing called Rihanna the Witch, and that's why they calling me the witch. That's why they calling me the witch. But anyway, what the deal here is, I was walking through the airport. You gotta be keen. I was walking through the airport about a year ago, and I saw a classic, Vogue magazine, about 100 copies of Vogue magazine on a display with this girl, Rihanna. I said, wait a minute, hold on. This girl just came out with an album and she's on Vogue magazine, and in the 1980s they only had 3 black women on Vogue magazine in a whole decade, and this girl just coming out with a song and they got on Vogue magazine. So the antennas went up and I put it to the back of the head. So she becomes a little famous, and next thing we know, her little boy, Chris Brown, that's his name, tries to kill her, goes berserk, try to beat her and kill her in the car, and this boy was under MK Ultra. Now, she's 22. That's my eye. Same time Aaliyah disappears. You got to understand ritual and how they do things and how they pick people for certain events in ritual. This is the way the ruling class operates. For whatever reason, I don't know. But all of a sudden this guy, now I see this picture of this girl, she comes out with an album, 1 month she's on Vogue magazine. Vogue magazine is one of the most elite magazines there is. They don't even, they don't even put black women on there every now and then. You see what I'm saying? I said, that's strange, the girl just come out. A year later, she almost get killed. This guy goes berserk on her. That's MK Ultra. But her name is Rihanna, named after Rhiannon the Witch, a Welsh deity. You gotta understand ritual. Stevie Nicks said, I put out a song called Rhiannon the Witch. a Welsh deity, and you go and get the book, The Dictionary of Ancient Deities. Everybody should have that on their shelf. Don't fuck around. The Dictionary of Ancient Deities. Everybody should own one. It's one of the greatest books ever put out on every god on the earth. They didn't put the Apollo up in there because, you know, they might have not known about it, but every deity, that's a book that you should get. Everybody should have that on their shelf. Dictionary of Ancient Deities by Patricia Turner and Charles Russell Coulter. It is a must-have. Get the Dictionary of Ancient Deities and look up Rihanna. They got a whole story on her. And this Rihanna, did you understand why they tried to sacrifice her? And luckily the MK Ultra break broke down and she got away, or she'd have been dead. But that's that 22. You see what I'm saying? 22 is Mayat. You see what I'm saying? It's Mayat. You see, so there's certain things that go on, and certain rituals that occur that we need to be made aware of. Certain things that line up a certain way. Give me some questions right quick. We're going to go to a question and answer, and y'all come get these angel checks for $5. You might be in the money. See, every now and then you ask for something. Oh, Lord Jesus, Lord, help me, Jesus. I need something. And then, you know what I'm saying? And then when the angel appears, you miss it. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're trying to hit some fucking lottery and some scratch-offs, which is fixed in the black community. Oh, I hit on the scratch-off. How many times you played? How many times you scratched off? You see? What's that, brother? Mission who?
Samaria.
Samaria, what about it? Well, first of all, that dissection is an agent for Jews. What happened with Zachariah Sitchin was this. They knew it. They said pretty soon they're going to find out that the origin of civilization is not with the Tiber and Euphrates. But right now we just got Jewish folklore. So the Jews came together and they funded Zachariah Sitchin to go in and take the text and to try to fortify Samaria. Now you got to realize one thing about Samaria. It is shamelessly, everything is coming from Samaria is coming from a few cuneiform tablets. Now I think it's odd for you to have all this so-called information from clay tablets, and yet they got enough hieroglyphics, enough papyrus, and enough temples that the hieroglyphics can reach around the earth and the moon 80,000 times. And they got vast numbers of libraries and stuff in Egypt, but yet civilization comes from Samaria. And they don't have numbers of, see, you can't say that the cuneiform tablets, you got about 5 or 6 of them or 20 of them, going to explain thousands of years of history, science and all that, just don't add up. So what Zachariah Sitchin did is he came and he took the same text, Egyptian text, New English, Gilgamesh, and all this, and he tried to still reinforce this stuff to still suggest and fortify Samaria, because they knew that the Camite thing was coming. And Samaria is nothing but northeast Africa, Phoenicia. The Phoenicians, later on the Carthaginians, are the origin of Greece. The Phoenicians became the Minoans, and that's the Greek culture. The Phoenicians became the Sumerians. They also became the Etruscans, which is Roman. All that is black. The gig is up. Sheikh Anta Diop told them that. Well, first it was George G.M. James, Sheikh Anta Diop, Martin Bernal. Then they got a shit called the East Face of Helicon. That came out 10 years ago at Oxford University, and they said all that stuff ain't nothing but Phoenician culture. There's a guy by the name of Sir Isaac Mayer put out a book called The Oldest Books in the World, talking about the Book of the Dead, but he put out a book on the Kabbalah. with a Q, Sir Isaac Mayer. In this book, they only put it out every so often. They don't like to put this book out in the Kabbalah because he says in the book that the Sumerians, the Mesopotamians, the Akkadians, the Phoenicians, all were nappy-head, dark-skinned people. So we still talk about semantics where we're just talking about another form of Northeast Africa or the Kushite Empire. Drusilla Dundee Houston's book, Ancient Ethiopian and the Kushite Empire, all that but nothing ancient Kush. You see what I'm saying? Ancient Kush. You see what I'm saying? So my point here is, don't separate none of them. You study equally Egypt, equally Samaria. Study Greek because that's Phoenician. Study Latin, Roman, that is Etruscan. All this stuff is in fragments. You're not going to find one system that is left whole. And that's your problem. You initiate into systems which is a fragment. The modern world does not have one system that has a complete mystery system or a complete diagnostic realm of education. You have to study all of it. You got to study the Rig Veda. You got to study the Upanishads. You got to study Zen. You got to study Chinese mythology because that ain't other black people. You see? All of it. That's how the white boy rules us. He said, we got some dumbass people called Negroes. Now they're the origin of humanity. So they're going to get to fussing over, I'm a Moor, I'm an Egyptian, I'm a Yoruba. You see what I'm saying? I'm this, I'm that. Oh, we Native Americans. He said, and they are all of that. But it's in fragments. Now what we're going to do is we are going to study everything because we don't have a culture. So we're going to take all of it and make a culture. And we're going to study all of it. We're going to call it chaos. Physics, chaos, magic. Which means all systems are fragmented. You got to put them all together. So that's why I study. I'm voodoo 1 week, 1 day. I'm Yoruba. I'm Brazilian Palo. I'm Cuban Palo. I'm Puerto Rican Palo. I'm a Macumba. You see what I'm saying? You see, I'm Camite because all of it is ours. But if you study one piece, because you're going to fail miserably on Samaria because it's only a few fragments. You can't even find a decent building standing up in there. You go there and you find nothing. One wall or two. But it doesn't matter because all of it is ours. But if you take the fragment and stuff and put it in a circumference of all, then you can draw the lines. But if you separate yourself, you're just another religion and another fragment going nowhere. And just going to discriminate against the other one, which is just another expression of the same shit you talk about.
That's it. Boom.
You see, what's that?
Brother Bobby, I heard you mention when during your lectures on YouTube that global warming is predicated on black folks pooling energy and it comes from...
Let me tell you something. Look at this. A little black man named Elijah Muhammad wrote a book which is out there. It's iron since 2007. We can't find the book no more. You can get them, but all of a sudden this book has been around for years. Just like Black Eyed Peas, and all of a sudden it disappears in 2007, called The Fall of America. You can find them, but it's hard to find them. And he says in the book, number one, he said out west California gonna burn for 15-something years. They've been having fire since the damn late 80s. Then he said, after that it's gonna heat up. The earth gonna get hot. And said after that America gonna fall. Well, guess what, America can't fall physically not unless somebody blow it up. We holding the bombs. The fall of America is the fall of the financial system. You need to get that book and track that stuff that's going on. It's like the Holy Quran talks about, like I said, you got to deal with all of it. It talks about the bees. They say when the bees leave, you got 4 years. We need to study that surah on the bees in the Holy Quran. They talk about the bees in the Holy Quran. You see, so global warming is nothing but the Kundalini energy in the original people rising, the serpentine energy. That's what's rising. The earth has a Kundalini too. It's a serpent in the earth, a cosmic fire in the earth. And when that rises, the Aztecs used to, and Olmecs used to do a ritual every year to unleash the earth's Kundalini energy. There's a book now by Drumbalo Melchizedek talking about unleashing the earth's Kundalini energy, his last book. Can't think of the name of it, but Drumbalo Melchizedek's last book that came out last year on the Kundalini energy. So the earth has a Kundalini energy also, and it's rising, but it is rising based on the energy rising in the people. And even there was that Lou Dobbs on CNN said one day, they only said it once, he said, the energy of the Kundalini energy is coming from the people. No, he said the global warming energy is coming from the people. He wasn't talking about the people polluting. He was saying coming from the people. They'll say it once. It's coming from you. It's coming from you. You see, so makes no difference if you get into the politics of Barack Obama. You're just as stupid as anybody else to think that Washington, D.C. is going to actually do something for you. But if you get into the spiritual shit of the people relating to Barack Obama, that's a different thing. It is your energy related. See, 1 October the 3rd of 1995, they had a group of police officers standing beside a wall with tears in their eyes. They were crying because they knew they worked tirelessly to convict O.J. Simpson. They were standing against the wall and they were crying. They didn't know what went on. But what they didn't realize, the O.J. Simpson case became the people's case because they trapped people into a court case for a year. And black people said, it ain't happening, and it didn't happen. So they waited till Barack Obama, people was focused on his ass, and they sent O.J. ass back into jail this time. Because he was an idiot. He was an idiot from the get-go. But you can't have black people wishing. Wishing is one thing. So what happened with Barack Obama as relationship to black people on that inauguration is a whole other energy based on this political shit. It's not based on Barack Obama. It's based on the Christ image. Not the Christ image calling him the Christ, but the ideal of a return of the black Pharaoh. And anybody seen Barack Obama hyperdimensional? Did anybody see Richard Hoagland's Barack Obama hyperdimensional on the internet? They might have taken it down. Where he showed the night that Barack Obama won the election in Chicago, they had these auras, these balls of light all over the field and all downtown Chicago. Those were spirits. Get Richard Hoagland, that's a NASA man's Barack Obama hyperdimensional. You can go on the internet and type that in. He even called it the return of the black Pharaoh. Richard Hoagland, that's his name, Barack Obama hyperdimensional. Go on the internet and try to download it. If not, I got it on DVD, so you can contact me. But you know, you have to contact me on camera because I can't give out my phone number because niggas will call you at 5 in the morning. Want to have a lecture? Want to have a lecture? I've had this done. Hey, man. One sister used to call me every morning at 7 o'clock and call Brother C. Manel every morning at 7 o'clock on the lecture. The master C. Manel is just a sinner. But he thinks that he asked for some pussy. She stopped calling. You waking me up every morning at 7 o'clock. You can break me up. Now I'm just trying to say we do stuff like that. I have to guard myself like Michael Jackson, man, because this shit get crazy when y'all get a nigga phone number. What's that, brother?
Yeah, I heard you speak some time ago in reference to a lot of the information that the New Age movement is putting out there, and how that now it's ineffective and it's irrelevant because we're in another cycle of consciousness. My question is, what direction or where can you direct me to get more understanding the dark matter magic? Okay, what it means is this. They got a whole thing full of magic. When you go to those bookstores, that's all our stuff you left behind. What you have to do to activate that magic is you got to create some stuff out of your head.
and have confidence that what you are creating is coming from the higher realm, because you are the return of those gods, and then you can activate that magic. It's like in 2002 to 2003, I would tell a lie, and the next day the lie would come true. It's called word made true. I was speaking it in tradition, I was speaking it into reality. So I tell a lie, on the phone, he lying that nigga about, how you gonna get out of something? Well, I can't go down there today, I gotta go here. My car broke or something. My foot hurt. Next day shit come true because I spoke it into existence. So what you have to do with the magic is you got to add something that's uniquely you, and it activates it. It's still our stuff. It's still our stuff. All of it is all magic is dark matter energy is enhancing the melanin. It's enhancing the melanin. So what I want to do is go do a little quick break. But what I want to do before we do that, we got to pour libation to give them theirs. Y'all all right? So we're going to pour libation. We're going to do it like this. We're going to spit to Hemmitt. That's the great big mama. Zuli. Oshu. We're going to spit to the goddess Aset. Tiamat. Tiut. We're going to spit to India, the Dogon goddess. We're going to spit to Raphael, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Metatron, Ewas, Owas, Agos, Raphael, that's the one that's coming. We're going to spit to Nadar, the Ethiopian, the one that's setting over all this. He was the one that facilitated the whole thing with Haile Selassie, Bob Marley. Bob Marley was the messiah of that thing. Haile Selassie was the idea of the Christ figure based on a lineage, but the energy was Bob Marley. Akhenaten sat over that. You see, so Akhenaten, Ethiopia, Baron Somdi, Bridget, down all the way up, Ahilway, Hanuman, Shiva, Vishnu, Lakshmi, Ganesha, Nomo, Gogu, Shango, Lepa, Owatala, Yiminya, Oya, Orisha Oku, Kalki, Shiva, Lani, Sadi, Anru, Nedura Akan, Bass, Butchers, Nadu, Ewa, Osar, Heru Bahudi, Harler, Sunnu, give me some higher shade, raise the energy. These angels made sure it didn't rain today, so you can come. So give me some higher shades. Bass, Butchers, Nadu, Zarabanda, El Cristo Negro, El Cristo Rey, Santissima Petra Eman, San Simone, Macho de Agua, Santissima Muerte, Macho de la Luna, Mama Shola, Hamagera, Kali, Al, Val, Wala, Lela, Ulumi, Nimra, Hashtag, Santos, Nina Hopez, Hotep, Silmi, Kansu, Mitsu, Maya, Peperu, Sekti, Sekshin, Selket, Tahuti, Canoe, Uwajet, Nekabet, Merit, Lilitu, Ishtar, Inanna, Aphrodite, Hecate, Astarte, Baal, Goetia, Calypha, Titan, the Curve, let's see what else, well, Asuras, Samuel, Hemmitt, Ubiel, Aniel, so I guess that's good enough.
Tiggeray.
Huh?
Tiggeray.
Yes. Call out some more.
Down to Sankofa.
Yes.
Give us one, sister.
Give me some Macan names.
Down to Sankofa.
Ashe.
Rambo.
Ashe. Alita. Ashe. Buddha. Ashe. Kuan Yin. Ashe. Tara. Ashe.
Wuchi.
Ashe. Okay. So what we're gonna do tell us he want to do the breakdown. Huh? Okay, you want to do the breakdown?
Charles.
Do you want the break? Yeah, Charles is on another planet. Your ass on Mars. Okay, now, for the people that's interested in them checks, all right, we got the Native Angelic Stimulus Package. We got the 8 to put in your wallet, and I got some of these doggone purple discs for 25 bucks. We got pictures for healing. We got some of everything. So if anybody's interested, you need to come up. And what I want you to do, I'm gonna put this check back up. And what I want you to do is, I'm gonna give you the check. I'm gonna give you a piece of paper with the angel on it, as far as your guardian angel. And I want you to go back to the chair. You're gonna give me $5 you're gonna give me $5 for the check and the piece of paper for the check. You give me $5 for that. You wanna go back to your chair. You wanna fill your check out. You got any questions, you can do that. Now we also, like I said, we got the purple disc, 25. We got the 8s for $5. We got the pictures on the wall. Our shape, so we're gonna go on break. All right.
I go.
Amen.
I go.
Amen.
I go. All right. Yes, sir, brothers. Thank you all for sticking around. We're going to keep this thing going here. Before I begin, before Bible Hemmitt comes back, just like to let everyone know. Well, first we're going to ask if you all can turn off your cell phones or put them on vibrate. If possible, we will be recording. We are recording this lecture this afternoon. And so we're going to keep this thing going for a few more hours here. Y'all going to stick around? Y'all all right? Everybody all right? You know, we both got some good food and you know how we get. But it's okay. It's okay. And let me just say something about the different businesses here. Our sister Takia is in the back with Accentuate, soap, lotion, moisturizer, sending those back there. We have brother Matt with some vegetarian food in the back. We have brother Charles who put this piece together. Let's give it up for brother Charles. And he has some books on various metaphysicians, including Phil Valentine, Delta Blair, Black Dot, and other holistic healers. Okay. All right. We have some more food that just came in for those that, you know, they have some good chicken and string beans, no, what is it? Greens and macaroni and cheese and something. Okay, that's that. Macaroni, cheese, and green beans, and then I don't know if any of you have stepped over to the brother with the source of water, and the brother does a good job with testing. I don't know if any of you have an actual tester to test the quality of the water. There's a little meter that I normally carry around called TDS meter, that which is totally dissolved solids. But he has a more sophisticated system. And so I would encourage every one of you to get with that brother. And he has this piece she's on the Baltimore Examiner called What's in the Water? And it says researchers, regulators eyeing pharmaceuticals in the water. And so, brothers, I don't know what you all think you're drinking, but it's definitely not water. But we're going to get started here. Our strong brother who has truly opened up our understandings of our spiritual connection, shall I say. I've never heard anyone articulate as many deities in one breath. I mean, just really, that's powerful for someone that have that level to be able to say it without reading from a script or a teleprompter, shall I say. And so, Bobby, you ready to get started back? Yep. Are y'all ready? Yeah. We got our pens and paper. All right, like we in school, right? All right, now let's keep this thing going from about beginning. Thank you.
All right. Several people have been coming up and asking me what to do with the check. The best thing to do is to get your little picture frame. You can go to the dollar store, Family Dollar, get you a picture frame, put the check in the picture frame, and basically put it on your mantle. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I said, don't buy 2 checks and try to fill out both checks in your name. It's only set for $2,500. So what you do here is you buy somebody else a check and have them fill it out. You see what I'm saying? Now, what we're going to say again here is for the people that bought the checks, what you want to do is you want to go on the website, you want to look up a book called Angel Signs by Albert Haldane, H-A-L-D-A-N-E. H-A-L-D-A-N-E. You're going to look up a thing called Angel Signs. The book came out in 2001. So the book, you can actually literally download each. You can actually tap into the files and find out more on the actual angel which sets over your birthday. You see what I'm saying? So it's called Angel Signs is the name of the book. Now, like I say is this. A lot of this stuff is coming from the research of the Ethiopian Book of Enoch, which is a text. The Ethiopian Book of Enoch. So you wanna get a hold of that book by R.H. Charles. There was a new one that came out in 2003. This book possessed probably prophecy that all manifested in the past 500 years in this book based on us and what was going to happen to us. They talk about how we would even become food for them. It talks about how we would bow down to them and beg them to ease their yoke. But they wouldn't listen and hearken our words. They wouldn't listen to anything we say. It would be endless amounts of things that they would heap on us. Now they also, to let you know it was the modern times that was talking about the last 500 years, they talk about steel mountains. Now what is a steel mountain? That's a building. The frame of a building is made out of steel. So they talk about steel mountains in here. So this goes through prehistory of the fall, and then it starts going into a series of history of when we went through slavery and all of the stuff we went through. This is called the Book of Enoch the Prophet by R.H. Charles. This is the definitive text. There's several books written, but this one is the one that came out, which is an easy read in 2003. And they got all kind of prophecies in here, but they're talking about certain people, and the only people that line up with these prophecies is us. You see what I'm saying? They line up with these prophecies is us. Remember before World War II, the only people that lined up with anything Hebrew, as far as the book of Daniel and several things, when they studied this stuff, was the Africans and the what happened in the slave trade and what happened with our plight. The only World War II made it so that the Europeans could fulfill those prophecies or try to emulate those prophecies. But there's another story that you need to understand about that. And this is another side of what happened to the Holocaust. What happened to the Holocaust? And that is this. What I want to, you had your, because remember now that the origin of the European Jew or the Hebrew, which would be the Jews, you can only trace it back to Spain. There is no such thing as an ancient white Hebrew. We only can trace it back to Spain. We know that. And all the closest book, the 13th tribe, which is probably the definitive text taken from Moorish doctrines, in Arabic manuscripts. So we know that these particular people were inducted into were converted into Judaism, what we call the Hebrewism, in Spain. We got that off the coast of 13th tribe. And so we also know now that the Moors, one of their jobs is this: to make a non-aberrant people. That's in a book called Ernest Scott's The People of the Secret. Ernest Scott, The People of the Secret, to make a non-aberrant people. Now what is aberrant? Aberrant means abnormal, unusual, unnatural. So the goal of the Moors was to go up into Europe, set up the universities, teach enormous amounts of information. People say, well, why did they have to teach the European the information? Number one, we understood prophecy. We have the book of Enoch. We have the Hermetic text coming out of Egypt that knew we was going to go into slavery 5,000 years before it happened. We have had several prophecies, even some prophecies that was lost. So when the Arabs invaded, which was the last invasion of Egypt, and they invaded Hemmitt, those Egyptian priests took all of the existing knowledge and went under the banner of Islam. These are these Moorish priests. Now try to understand the science. They could use a religion like a political party. So that in the Democratic Party, you might have several people, blacks, whites, Latinos. You see what I'm saying? It's a political party. Well, they can do the same thing with a religion. So these Egyptian priests would use Islam because they understood it was a conquering force to go up into Europe to supplant all of this ancient wisdom. They understood one thing: if these Europeans did not get this wisdom when we went to sleep, when we woke up out of sleep, things would have been lost. So they gave this particular information to the Europeans to preserve the information while we went to sleep. That's exactly what happened. Call it slavery, call it deterioration, or what have you, we went to sleep. So to preserve that particular information, they had to go and teach these people for 700 years to preserve this information. So one thing they did here is, one of the other things they had to do to make a non-aberrant people is the Moors had to spread their seed. Now listen to this story. They had to spread their seed to make an offspring of a semi-original people. You get Semite from. Now, some of the original ones of that offspring of that seed was those Ashkenazi Jews. Which one was the original Ashkenazi Jews?
No, that's the faith.
Huh? Yeah, but no, I'm talking about that's the fake Jew as opposed to the black Jew. But the original Jew, the Ashkenazi, is the original white Jew.
Right.
That one had a black seed in it because it was the progeny of the Moors. Because not only did they give them this information, converted them into the faith, they had offspring by these women. And after the Moors was ousted in 1492, they took 500 years trying to wash that seed out, which led to the final solution of the Nazi concentration camps, which was financed by the head Jews that was the ones that so-called purified themselves or was converted Jews of a white strain. They got rid of the black strain in the concentration camps. This is new information. Now I want you to understand how this process is done. To understand how this process is done, There was a movie that came out in 1992 called Rabbit Proof Fence. Rabbit Proof Fence. It's about how you take the Australians, the Aborigines, you take a group of these Aborigines and you sequester them and make them marry white people. And then you take that group and make them only mate with a white person. Until you keep on, until you get it, till you, what they call, breed the so-called black strain out. But you can never breed that black strain out. Queen Elizabeth and them are mad about that to this day. Because Queen Charlotte, when her mother got screwed by that Moor, so they can trace their shit back to Seville. Queen Elizabeth, that whole bloodline up into Queen Elizabeth now got a black strain in it. And that's why they mad with Islam. That's what this whole fight is about. Islam, under the Moors, made them niggas. You can't never get that tainted blood out of you. So they grabbed these Aborigines out. Now that's now in the new movement, Australia. So one came out, Rabbit Proof Fence, which gives you the definitive thing, in 2002. Rabbit Proof Fence. The other one came out in 2008, Australia. This was past summer. And in there they bred from black to white up until 1973 with the Australian line. So the Jews from 1492 up until the concentration camps 1940 or 41, whenever they started taking them on the trains, they tried to re-whiten themselves. But that last black strain, the head of the Jewish white nation, got in cahoots with Hitler, who was a Jew, and they killed off, they sent that last black strain of the Moors to the concentration camps. We even suspect this happened in Russia. Because you got a Moor, because we're trying to find out how did that Islamic line get up in Russia. That's a Moorish line. And remember, Alexander Pushkin, who is the father of the history of Russia, he said that all things were black. And he was all things Russian. And so Stalin killed millions of Russians. Anytime you hear they killing millions of Russians, they had ethnic cleansing of a black strain.
That's right. That's right.
You see, of a black strain. Now, as a result, y'all all right? Yeah. Okay, let me show you how stuff backfires. The ancient art of Isis worship is called Wicca, wise woman. It comes from the word bitch, priestess of the dog star. They worship a goddess named Hecate. Let me get my glasses. Shit. 40 plus. 40, when you hit 40, you can hurt yourself just by waking up and stretching. Oh, shit! I'm 47. I'm born the same year. Barack Obama, Eddie Murphy, Lawrence Fishburne, Forrest Whitaker, all at 1961. George Clooney, Meg Ryan. I'm going to commend George Clooney because he was one of the ones that made that. He was one of the only ones that did a whole documentary on the Darfur thing on HBO and there's genocide. You see what I'm saying? They said they're going to be people that don't look like you that's going to come to help you. In the book of Enoch, they said when these people come to help you, do not turn away from these people. There are going to be some white people going to show up to help you, but if you judge them based on the way they look, you miss the benefits. You see what I'm saying? Because every day, the people who killing you look like you. They done killed 1,000, no, they done killed over 100 damn children in Chicago since January. They killed 37 last month alone. Niggas killing each other, shooting up each other. You see? So I said, I'm not wasting no more energy on ain't shit niggas. What does that mean? You know, in the Afrocentric thing, we born, or we in prison, we that. But we always knew in our community we had a group of people going somewhere, and we always had some ain't shit niggas. You know, it ain't got nothing to do with economics. It could be your own brother, your own family. You see what I'm saying? So I don't bleed my heart now, burning up energy on some niggas that ain't supposed to be nothing. You see what I'm saying? Killing up each other. You see what I'm saying? Like that. Now we marched down to Gina, Texas for one black guy who was beating black motherfuckers' ass before he fucked around and fucked that white boy up. He was beating black men's ass, and then he messed around and hit that white boy the wrong way, and they dealt with his ass. And we marched down to Gina, Texas for that shit, and yet they done had 37 black people die in the last month in Chicago. They had 4 babies last week got shot with AK-47. Babies, women, and ain't nobody marching to that shit. You think I'm gonna get on a bus and go to Gina, Texas for some old ragged ass nigga who ain't shit? You know that nigga ain't shit. Y'all like this boy and say, well, why are they picking on him? That nigga was beating, they said this guy was a bully, he was beating up black people's ass. He fucked around and hit that white boy around, man. The white people said, oh no, we're gonna deal with this shit. You march on buses, and yet they had 37 black people get black children, getting black women, all kind of people died in Chicago last month, and 100 since damn January, and you ain't hear shit about it. That's why I don't get on no bus for no niggas or whatever. See what I'm saying? We burn up too much energy on fucked up niggas. Now the book of Eagle said there's gonna be some white people gonna come to help you. And don't throw the book out with the bathwater. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because right now, this shit's so messed up down on the planet Earth, it ain't about no race, it's about the separation of those who have consciousness and those who don't. Just like the Matrix said, those people plugged into the Matrix is your enemy, although they may look like you, they're your enemy too. Right now, it's based on who has consciousness and who don't. And them niggas who don't have consciousness is dangerous. And you know what? White folks suffering with the same thing. They got to deal with all kind of evangelist crackers and stuff. They're like, man, that ain't what time it is. You know what I'm saying? So they going through that whole thing. You see, so this thing right now is about who knows the information and the keys. Because what's rolling right now is world domination. You see what I'm saying? And you bleed hot by some old nigga that's gonna shoot your son the next day. Man, I done got so many calls from mothers talking about their son got their head blown off by another nigga outside of. Because the generation now that's 18 and 19, they through dealing. If your generation was messed up, and they call that generation X, that's the niggas in their 30s. Now, what you think about the ones 18 and 19? They just straight up zombie killers. You see what I'm saying? So, moving back of what we're talking about here is, they talk about some people coming to help you, and I'm going to tell you this part what they're talking about. In Australia, because they messed around and tried to breed out the Australians to 1973, they got a lot of white people with the black gene. And as a result, they got this white girl here, trace her lineage back to Hemmitt. All that look a certain way you don't know. Now, I say, well, how the hell could this be? Her name is Deborah Gray. Her name is Deborah Gray. She got a tape out called Wish Upon a Spell. She was the ninth, which one is she? She's the top witch in Australia. Australia has, in 2000, they had 50,000 Australians into the occult and witchcraft. When they took the census in 2006, there was 100,000 Australians in the occult and witchcraft. Now they're scared because they understand that it backfired on them. Some of those, they tried to breathe out the Aborigines so much until they got so much black mixed up in their gene, so they can't tell what it is, but all of them look white. But they into this witchcraft. They into the occult. and they trace it, and they reveal it. They say the most highest gods is the Egyptian gods, or the Canaanite deities. And this white girl here is like the head witch over most of them. Name is Deborah Gray. This DVD is called Wish Upon a Spell. Wish Upon a Spell. You know, she got shit in there how to get a husband, how to get a soulmate. All this shit works too. Now, all this stuff works. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is they run amok when they try to breed out those aborigines. They can never get rid of that damn black gene. They just produce a lot of white black people that look white. And as a result, they got the spirit realm shit, the most amount of witches and occultists in one country. They got 100,000 of them. It's the fastest growing. Just about everybody's abandoning the church. So they even have an evangelist here on Larry King, like he's a big time evangelist. I can't think of his name. He got a big mega church white boy. They said, Larry King said, are you concerned? He said, thousands of white people are going into the occult, tarot, psychic readings, astronomy, astrology, ceremonial magic. And the white guy said, no, I ain't upset because there's thousands of them coming to my church. He said that because he knows he's into that shit. Normally the preachers be talking all against that. So there's hundreds of these people that's going into this particular information. You see what I'm saying? So to show you how that breeding process can back up on them. Y'all all right? Yeah. Let me get my notes right quick. I don't want to miss nothing. Don't want to miss nothing. Let me get some fresh stuff. Now it's interesting here because they worship a deity. They worship a deity, a moon goddess that sets over all the witches called Hecate. She's called Hecate in Egypt. Hecate in Phoenician goddess, what you call Carthage and all that. And later on, she's Hecate in Greek and Rome. And that's why the Europeans worship her. She's a moon deity, but she's called Hecate in Egypt, or Kemet. She's also a form of Setman. And I'm going to read something to you here, because like I said, they translated a lot of papyruses into Greek and Latin the last 100 years of the Egyptian temples. Before the last Egyptian temple, the temple of Isis had female clothes. I want to read something here of the god that all the witches worship. This goddess is called Old Mistress Hecate. She's a female of Anubis. Anubis is the god of the crossroads, and Hecate is the goddess of the crossroads. She has a book out called The Rotting Goddess. I don't know the name of the people, but you just write The Rotting Goddess. It's a book on her. The Rotting Goddess, Hecate. And they say she's equivalent to the Legba, the god of the crossroads. She's the goddess of the crossroads. So they say, oh Mistress Hecate, oh lady of the crossroads. Now she's the goddess that all the witches worship. And the word witch comes from the word vitch and comes from the word bitch, priestess of the dog star. That's a form of Isis or Aset. So you know, Aset has over 180 names. You see. So this is a form of Aset, the moon phase of Aset. So she would be a form of Neptune, the black Isis. A Nephet, the sister, who's the mother of Anubis. She's the moon deity. She's called Hecate in the Phoenician. And it says, "O lady of the crossroads, old black bitch." Now you're reading a translation of a papyrus, the spell of attracting and performing the heroes of the gladiators or something like that. This is the papyrus. This is the book. This is the book to throw you off. This is the mass production of the Egyptian papyruses that was translated by the Egyptian priests. It is called the Greek Magical Papyri in translation. This is the one that all the occultists use. You don't know nothing about it because it throw you off. You Mr. Egyptian man, you're going to turn against all things Greek and you don't understand. This is used this way to throw you off. Because it was translated into Greek and Latin. But it is the Egyptian papyruses of the magical papyruses. You see, the Greek magical papyrus in translation edited by Hans, H-A-N-S, Dieter, D-I-E-T-E-R, Hans Dieter, D-I-E-T-E-R, Dieter, whatever. And his last name is Best, B-E-T-Z. Hans Dieter Best. The Greek magical papyri in translation. So this was a mass volume of Egyptian magical text. But they put it under the Greek thing because they translated it in that, but they put it under that so you don't go up in it. And this is all of the stuff up in here. There's maybe 20 other spells up in here. You see what I'm saying? Spells for everything, and these shits work. They got a spell that say do what you want. Or anything you want. They got a spell in here to get rid of anything that is messing with you. You see what I'm saying? Not necessarily kill you, but it can show enough that a nigga get out your face. You see? So I'm just trying to say, but you hear that word old black bitch. That's powerful. You get mad and stuff, but that's the highest level of offset. And this is the Egyptian translation. Oh Hekati, old black bitch. It's fitting I say this on Mother's Day, because it means priestess of the dog star. This dog star is called the soul of Isis, Aset. The soul of Aset. You see, y'all all right?
Yes.
This is some powerful stuff. This is some powerful stuff. You know, moving right along. Moving right along. I'm going to leave out nothing. Moving right along. Now, I'm going to read something to you right now. Let's break down some stuff. I'm going to take this angel dictionary and you show you how you read this stuff. If you read this stuff as formulas and understand, you can unlock the keys. And we're going to turn to the God Samuel. I'll show you. Show you how you read stuff. The God Samuel. The God Samuel was originally thought of as the angel of death, considered to be an evil angel in Jerusalem. Samuel means blind God, and it means arrogant. The Gnostics considered ignorance being the seed of evil. Because Samuel was considered a fallen angel, this is an alternative reason for Samuel's name, blind God. Now let me translate this stuff for you. Because Horus is also called the blind God. The blind God. So we're going to break down one of the great mysteries of all time in a few seconds. You get ready to miss out? Ask me. You leaving out in the building? Okay. All right. This is some very important stuff right here. It shows you how you go up in churches and you preach against yourself. This is very important. Now follow me on this so we can break some mysteries here. Anyway, in so many words, Samuel is considered Satan. Now, so we're going to deal with that. I know it's something when that damn sound was coming on while I was reading this. Anything to distract you. Now, let's go to this word right here. What the hell is that?
Think it's making a microphone?
Oh, what's coming from me? Oh, okay, yeah, shit, I'm talking junk and I'm the sauce. Yeah. Now, all right, now let's deal with this. Yeah. All right, I'm going to turn it around. Okay, yeah. All right. Get that James Brown. We just heard the word Samuel, which is Satan. Now, let's look at the word Peniel or Pineal that's in the book of Job. Peniel or Pineal has been the angel who wrestled with Jacob the whole night. However, as the fight occurred at a place called Pineal, it was an angel that wrestled with Jacob all night at a place called Pineal. It is possible that Pineal is an angel that does not exist. They're trying to figure this out. No, it exists because it's in your Bible. Now, all of a sudden now, because you go, oh, the Bible exists, Jesus is real, but all of a sudden when you get up against the wall, you got to deal with, oh, it don't exist because it's going to reveal too much. He is believed to live in the third heaven, Pineal. Well, why you got all this information on the motherfucker? He don't exist. Pineal are more than likely to be the same angel. Pineal and Peniel is more than likely to be the same angel. The Zohar, which is the Kabbalistic text brought up by Moses de Leon by the Moors in Spain, said that Samuel is the angel who fought with Jacob at Pineal. So if you break these things down in a medical terminology or formula, the black substance that they talk about is what Jacob wrestled with. That was Samuel, the God of the dead. Melanin is nothing but DNA, and DNA is what? Previous ancestral material. You got DNA, 2 strains, and then you got a whole bunch of others that they can't explain, and they call that junk DNA. Junk DNA. They can't explain it. In Indian, it's called Kala, K-A-L-A. Watch out, we're going to go into that in a few minutes. But they call it junk DNA. Now, I'm going to reveal something to you tonight that's going to show who you are and where you are. And the only thing I can tell you right now, you are a projection of yourself somewhere in the sky. They say that we are not local. There's something that's projecting you from the sky and dreaming you up. And you trying to figure out who you are, but you are somewhere else in another dimension. We say the sky, but they're talking about another dimension. This is amazing stuff. We're going to get into this tonight. We're going to break some great mysteries. Y'all all right? Yeah. Now, what this is saying is Jacob wrestled with the angel. The angel is melanin. The angel is called Samuel. In India, Samuel is called samstar, or black substance called akasha. He wrestles with the angel all night, and at daybreak, he's called Pineal. He sees the face of God called Pineal. Harvest means great face. Hero means great face, the face of God. And both of those are talking about pineal gland. So in so many words, Samuel, which is melanin, and pineal, which they also say is Samuel, is the pineal gland. It's nothing but a combination of melanin and the pineal, which is called light bringer. The melanin produced, the melanin is flowing through the pineal gland to produce light. Light bringer. Lucifer is the light bringer. Lucifer is the pineal gland. Light is called angels of light, which is angels of light. The angels are the angels is light. In this particular is produced on high, is produced by the pineal gland. So these particular archangels are now coming back because now we have the light produced in the pineal gland, and they need to feed from it to be one with us. As a result, they help us, but they need to be energized. We'll go into question and answer whatever when we deal with that. You got it? Yeah, they need to be energized. It's called angels of light. Now, so they got this angel as pineal, and this is an excellent book, Encyclopedia of Angel by Richard Webster and all. But he has 4 other books: Gabriel, Michael, Gabriel, Michael, Uriel, and Raphael. And Raphael. You see what I'm saying? Now everything, see the thing about it, everything don't have to come with an Egyptian terminology, because you got to realize we were all these family members all over the world as one black people. So that it's not like somebody made up something outside of this ether. They even say that first of all, let's look at this part now. Most of the ancient world, even John Hemmitt told you this. If you were to go back to Rome and Greece, you might see 2 white people walking around with a whole group of black people. This whole white ancient world is something that was created the last 100 years. Half the Greek statues and stuff was built in the 1800s. Built in the late 1800s. This is a fabrication. So even the Greeks, which you go to Greek town in Detroit, and the Greeks look like this brother here, Dennis, is calling this man in the camera. He said, my family's always been there. And why is it that Charles Fitch tells you that the Greeks have 85% sickle cell rate?
That's right.
You can't have sickle cell unless you got melanin. It's another blood type that is only malfunctions outside of its environment. So sickle cell only comes about when you get the wrong diet after living outside of your environment. They got Africans now coming down with sickle cell and only been in this damn country 10 years, and they 40 years old now and never had it before then. But the diet changed, and as a result, the blood cells react different. Got nothing to do with no sickle cell is some kind of deficiency. No, it's not a deficiency. It is a malfunction based on something that is not that's out of its environment. But the Greeks have 80% sickle cell. We talk about a fabrication of black cultures that went on, white cultures, and a fabrication against the black culture that went on for the past 1,000 years. You see what I'm saying? So there is nothing out here that you read and stuff has nothing to do with white folks. White folks couldn't speak, so how could they create the Greek language? You see what I'm saying? That's a black language, and that's what I'm trying to say. There's nothing that's advanced out here. You see, it didn't come from us. Now, let's go into a couple of other things. Let's go into a couple of other things right quick. What we want to deal with right now is, I'm going to deal with some things. Now, I showed this picture in New York. I later on got a little bit more research on it. I showed this picture in New York before Christmas. It is a picture, and if you can see it, you know, like I said, you know, I might have to break down, start getting me some PowerPoint, you know, shit like that, you know. But I don't even know a computer, so, you know. But anyway, this is Osiris, or Osar, and he's being offered a duck. The duck has an oil to it, and you eat the duck, and what happens is melanin goes throughout the central nervous system. But you have to trap it. And how you trap melanin is you eat certain substances and certain oils or certain things to trap the melanin clusters. And once you trap the melanin clusters, you can do it can create several things that you can work with. It's almost like sacred mushrooms. It's almost what marijuana used to do before you start smoking it every damn day. I'm saying? They used to go and take a regular cube of sugar and go on, just like taking a hit of crack. But if your diet didn't consist of sugar, sugar would be just like a boost, just like crack would be. And the priests used to take sugar when they want to go to a high spiritual element. You see what I'm saying? But if your diet consists of that all the time, then, you see what I'm saying, it's going to be different for you. So they used to take the duck oil. And he's offering the duck to Osiris. If they didn't supposed to eat duck, why the hell is it offering to Osiris, their sacred god? You see? So they used to take this stuff and they kept it, so it's a symbol to try to tell you how to get the spiritual attainment. You eat the duck. You know, black people, you know, we don't eat, you know, some of us eat duck, most of them eat duck sauce all our life and never had no duck. You didn't know that duck sauce was for ducks. You give me some duck sauce, you put it on a fucking spring roll, you know, on a spring roll, egg roll. You think that's what it was? No, it was for duck. You see what I'm saying? But they used to do it to trap the melanin and for healing. Now, we know that some of y'all ain't gonna eat no duck, some of you vegetarians and all that. So the modern equivalent of that is hemp seed oil. So get you some hemp seed oil, which is the root of marijuana. Just don't have the THC, but you can get some hemp seed oil and you can trap the melanin in the hemp seed oil. And you can do all kind of healing with hemp seed oil. But you want to get the one from Whole Foods because it's a dark green one, like Osiris. Like Osiris. You see what I'm saying? It's a dark green one like Osiris. So I want to show you this other thing right here. There was a sister, she's a singer named Rapunzel. Came by the house and we did a little lecture at the crib. And she mentioned that she was pregnant about a year ago. And she was concerned because the doctor gave her conflicting things about the baby when they took the sonogram and put fear in her that something might be wrong. So she was worrying about the baby. Now, she was worrying about the baby. So the baby sent her a message in the womb. Now, first of all, they got several levels of the human beings from the last 50 to 56, 57, 60 years. First is the baby boomers from the early 50s or the late 40s on up into the 70s, and they were called light bringers. Then the 70s child was called the indigo children. And the indigo children lasted from the 70s to the 90s. And then, but each level lasts a little shorter. So the light bringers lasted close to, from the 50s, about 20 years, and then maybe about 15 or something years you had the indigo children lasted roughly about 20 years too, then it sped up. So the indigo children lasted from the 70s to the 90s, and then the 90s children are called crystal children. And they lasted from the 90s up into the 2000s, and then the millennium children are called rainbow children. Each generation, these children get more advanced. And you can look at a child might say something to you that you didn't say until you were 17, 18. You're like, damn, that child at 10 years old, and it gave a scenario, and I said, I didn't say that kind of shit until I was 17, 18 years old. And they get younger and younger and smarter and smarter. There's a backside to that, a downside to that too. I'll tell you what that is in a minute. But the rainbow children, you see what I'm saying, are the other ones. Now this rainbow child, which is the ones that are on the scene now, sent its mother a message, not the word, that it was going to be all right. I'm going to show you the sonogram, and maybe you can make out what it is. This is a baby's head holding up a thumb saying, I'm okay, mother. You see this shit here?
Yep.
She came to the house and it was a color picture. I should have told her that it ain't a black and white, but they could have made a color from a color copy. But anybody see that?
Yeah.
The baby, when they took the sonogram, the baby, this rainbow child, is up in the womb looking at the mother and holding up the hand saying, I'm okay, holding up the thumb. We deal with real spiritual stuff that's going that to the exhibit. Y'all all right? Okay. I wanted to show you that. Moving right along. Let's see where we're going. Let's see where we're going. Hold on 1 minute. Let's see some other things here. I don't want to miss out on anything. Anyway, let me get my notes so I don't want to miss out on nothing. I'm going to get my notes so let me show you what the spirit world did. You got spirits that's coming back to correct stuff. Now, this is what happened recently. They had this on this documentary program, they had this thing, always trying to, white folks are always trying to take history and make it their own, or try to alter history to favor them. So, they had a whole thing on the Bee Gees and their impact on disco. And so, they had Nile Rodgers, I had a couple of people on the Nile Rodgers and a couple of people that was like, well, you know, but they did say, well, this stuff came from black dance music. They've always had black dance music. They've always had black dance music, and somehow the white boy just basically took it and put it with his technology. You see what I'm saying? You know, with that monotonous type sound to extend it, and made the disco out of it. But they said it all came together with the Bee Gees, and they tried to make like they were the pioneers of this stuff. So, the sister Bert, a hat shack who used to do, she used to bring me to New York in the 90s. She's responsible for first bringing Phil Valentine out. You know, he opened for Delbert Blair. He'd been doing teaching for years in New York, but he nationally became known when he opened for Delbert Blair. And so she was the one that was responsible for bringing a lot of the metaphysical stuff to New York, thus really opening up for the rest of the country. She's one of the pioneers of that. She used to be a DJ in the 70s. And so she told me this story on how, this is what I'm going to tell you how stuff is redirected, how spirit does stuff. She told me this story on how white folks couldn't dance. And the person who taught them to dance was Van McCoy when he wrote The Hustle. So they started learning that hustle. And once they learned the hustle, you got a lot of white boys, if they can't dance, they don't want to participate. So they learned the hustle. And so he wrote The Hustle in late 74, maybe early 75. So 2 years later, when the Bee Gees come along with Saturday Night Fever, which the soundtrack, you know, it's a good soundtrack, don't get me wrong, that shit, the Bee Gees was some good shit. But let's tell it like it is. By that time, the white folks had been hustling for about 2-3 years, and then, so their confidence was up, and then this what started the Studio 54, and they could really get there and dance, but it was The Hustle and Van McCoy who started them on their track for dancing. Now, one of the first disco records extended play was Keep On Trucking, Eddie Kendricks. You see, which the extended play came from James Brown. Used to have that 45 and the song double up and flipped on the other side of that 45. So he's the original disco man. But one of the original disco songs that said, which studied the template was Eddie Kendricks' Keep On Trucking, and the violins that later on became synonymous to disco came from the Philly International sound, who was putting violins in their music. So they took Keep On Trucking, they took the violins from Philly International, put that together for a dance track, then Van McCoy came and did The Hustle to teach them how to dance. So they had a culture that was birthed with the pioneers of black people, and then by the time the Bee Gees get there, they dancing and all, and they get credited for being the motherfucking forerunners of disco. So what happened was, the night that they aired not this Friday night, but Friday before last, they aired this thing on what is called a documentary channel, calling the Bee Gees The Impact on Disco. But a few hours before it aired at 12 o'clock on Friday night, I was in a damn flea market, and I bought an album for 40-something cents. 47 cents, and it was a Van McCoy album. Bought the album, went home, watched the documentary about the Bee Gees, and then the other day, I started signing because I got like 1,000 albums, so I got to get around to playing them. So I took the album out, put it on the turntable, and was playing it with the headphones on. Because I get up, I get me 2 shots at night, put on the headphones and jam. Or I'll get up in the morning, get me 2 shots and jam. Go to another level. So I was jamming this music and he came through. And I said, because he died in 1979. So I said, well, look, I want to know that they killed you. So I had to wait till this reader got home that night, this particular person who tell me. And I said, did he call his brother through? I said, did they kill you? And he said, absolutely not. So I'm saying, well, what's the deal? Why did you come? And what he was trying to say was, look, I was the pioneer of this stuff. And so what they're attributing the Bee Gees for the impact, that was me. And that record needs to be straight. So I'm just trying to show you how things, so those particular spirits come through. Let me give you another example. I was in college. Remember anybody saw the movie about the guy who went to 80 McDonald's for a month, 80 McDonald's. How many months? Supersized me and got hooked on McDonald's. It was McDonald's. It was McDonald's. But that's with you channeling, because I'm going to tell you what happened. You mentioned Burger King, but let me tell you what happened. I had a friend that was in school with me back in the day. He was the SK president at Clark Atlanta University. In his last year, before he graduated, all he ate for a year was a Burger King that was up the street from the school. He ate a Whopper. He ate a double Whopper with cheese for a year, every day, or most of the time. So I flew up to New York because I was doing the shoe design thing, and I went to go get my shoes from this Jew guy in New York and stuff, and find out what designs they made for my shoes to match the designs on the paper. So I flew back to Atlanta, and I saw Whitney, and Whitney was a skeleton. I said, man, what the fuck happened to you? Because I left about 2 months. He said, well, I was eating Burger King for a year. I started losing weight. We went to the doctor said you were systematically starving yourself with malnutrition. Okay? Now, and so he said, I said, okay, then. So we knew what the problem was. Then, when you go visiting them doctors, you're going to find something. Lay down with dogs, wake up with fleas. So he decided that he was skinny. The doctors put him on AZT. That's what kills when they call it AIDS. And he ended up dying in 1990. So they murdered him. And that's what the woman in Africa said. There was a voodoo priest in Africa that diagnosed people from the spirit world. She said she's never seen anything called AIDS. She said she's seen people come with other disease and they end up calling it AIDS and they kill them with the AZT. Well, that's what they did with my boy Whitney. They killed the brother. So let me tell you what happened about the spirit world. I don't even eat the burgers. I was riding down the street about a month ago, and we passed by the Burger King where he used to eat every day. It was over there where the schools are. Clark, Morehouse, Morris Brown, Atlanta University, and Spelman and all that. I said, pull into that Burger King. We pull into the Burger King, girl ordered a big fish, and I ordered a double, the spirit told me to order a double Whopper with cheese. Order that double Whopper with cheese. The spirit told me to do it. I'm going to We go to some other store and Linda gets out to go in this store to buy something. And when she come back, I'm in heaven. I'm in another zone. I'm eating this shit. I'm eating this shit and I'm about to kill myself. And I'm like sedated. I'm in a whole other zone. She said, God damn, what the hell is the matter with you? But I had tapped into the stuff with Whitney, and his spirit, you see what I'm saying, was merging, and we was having this particular moment together. See what I'm saying? He been dead since 1990. You see? So it was almost like an ancestral type thing. The burger was symbolic of that stuff, but since he was dealing with that, you see what I'm saying? That's what happened. I'm trying to show you some stuff. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about. Because all this has to do with melanin. Now listen to this. They got a burger place. Y'all all right? Yeah. Okay. They got a place in Tennessee, in Memphis, Tennessee. It's a burger shack that Clinton ate at, Bush Sr. ate, Bush Jr. ate, Reagan, Jimmy Carter, Bobby Kennedy, Gerald Ford, Richard Nixon, Robert Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, they ate this thing. And I'm like, well, what's the deal? And what they go into this place, they deep fry a hamburger. Then they take the hamburger, they take the cheese and put it in the grease, put on the hamburger, and then take a bun and put on top of a greasy cheese, and the grease melt into the bun, and it's one big grease burger. And all the presidents eat this thing. I'm going to try to understand something about alchemy. Alchemy is the study of melanin and everything in the universe. The reason why they eat this thing, is this. Listen, I want you to hear this. I want you to hear this. They go to this grease place and they eat a greasy burger because the grease that they cook the burger in, they've been cooking the burgers in since 1918. Now, what they do is to clean the grease, they ball the grease and they strain the grease, but they got big ass vats in a vault. But the grease, they've been cooking in this grease since 1918. Since 1918. And what it is, the properties of the different eras in this grease take you to another dimension. Now, this ain't far-fetched from what your family used to do. Remember you used to get that grease can? You could cook that grease, and your mom and them say, nah, that grease is just right. Remember that? And you didn't have no disease or nothing. Because remember when they cook with love, and everything that they cooked like the business was trapped in that grease. Maybe you remember that? That grease can. Y'all remember that shit. Some of y'all got the grease can going on right now. That's an old slave methodology that these white people done tapped into that came from black people. And that grease was holistic. It might have been some Crisco Lolly. Only thing fucking up is fish. You can't cook fish in it. Because everything goes, after you cook fish in it, you have to have a separate one for the fish. So, it's not by far-fetched that even Barack Obama might go through there. But it's the properties in the grease that's been around since what? Over 100 years, 1918? Huh? How many years is that? About 90-some years? Huh? Yeah. So this is what. So it's talking about those particular properties in that particular grease. You see what I'm saying? But that's not far-fetched. That dealing with something old, bringing it into the future. And you tap into a whole nother realm. You see what I'm saying? So I just want to deal with that. Now let's see. What we're going to deal with right now is an angel. Let's deal with this Dogon mystery first. Deal with some new Dogon mysteries. You know the Dogon tribe. This is coming from the conversation over in the Village book. And also, this is also in the Sirius mystery, I think. These people are now these are ancestors now for these things. I think this conversation over the Village was in the 1930s with Marcel, Jermaine Gentleman and Marcel Brio in the book. One of the books is The Pale Fox with Nomo. And yeah, The Pale Fox, which you can still get. The new book is 2 new books. The Science of the Dogon, that came out about 3-4 years ago. Let me see what year. And a new one called The Signs of the Dogon. Is that I think it's called The Signs of the Dogon. This one came out in 2006. His name is Laird Stranton. Science of the Dogon. There's a new one he got out called The Signs of the Dogon, where they trace the Dogon language and all that back to hieroglyphics. Extraordinary book. The mysteries I want to get into is the cosmology of this. It's the cosmology of the Dogon. But that's Laird Stranton's book, or Scranton's, S-C-R-A-N-T-O-N, Laird Scranton's book. And that is the Science of the Dogon. I wanted to show this, but what I'm going to show right now is this. Let's see if I got the pictures up here. These Dogon pictures. He gave me them. This is a symbol of Sirius C. That's the most important at this particular time. Sirius C. Sirius C. You got Sirius A, which is the star Sirius. Our sun is a child that in relationship to another sun, which is the father. The sun behind the sun is the star Sirius. So you got Sirius C, you got Sirius A, then you have Sirius B, which is a burnt up dwarf star. A dwarf star called Sirius B. Now, they call it Potolo. I think that's what they call it. And the Dogon say that in the beginning, before anything existed, Potolo existed. Now let me go to another Phoenician cosmology. They say in the beginning existed Eros, which is a yearning desire, and Gaia. Gaia later on will become planet Earth. Now listen to this. Gaia existed, break down this cosmology. I want you to hear this. Before any other universe or any other part of this Milky Way galaxy existed Gaia and Eros. Eros and Gaia. Eros is the substance behind sex, desire, lust, a great yearning or yearning. Yearning in man, yearning in the cosmos. But it says in the Phoenician cosmology, which is later on Greek cosmology, in the beginning existed Eros and Gaia, but Gaia becomes the earth. So they saying the earth was here before the rest of the Milky Way. That's why Elijah Muhammad said that the gods in the heavens say that the greatest of the gods live on earth. The Zohar says that man looks up and says that the angels is on high, while the angels in heaven worships the man on earth. Gabriel, Raphael, and them are coming back to worship you. You are the one to have the light. Y'all listen to me. But we got to come up a phase to the God level. They say that Heru, when he's a child, the elementals, Oshun, Ogun, Legba, Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, they say when Horus is the child, the elementals is his protectors. But when he becomes an adult, which means an enlightened one, they become his servants. Raphael and them are serving us because we have the light. Remember, these were the gods that threw us out of heaven. They say fallen being. What is a fallen being? A fallen being is a person who takes on a physical body. So one brother said, brother, I believe, called the radio, brother, I believe you one of them fallen angels. I said, if you knew what fallen angels mean, it means humans, you dickhead. You a fallen angel too. The grandparents or the parents were overthrown by their children. The parents was old. They became weary and sleepy. The children gained power and overthrew the parents and threw the parents into physical bodies. And they became humans. Now the angels who threw our children who threw us into the physical bodies are now old, and we have regenerated and we are new. We have the new light, and they have to come through us to be regenerated. But the family fight is over. We are all one. Y'all getting this? Just go back and study the tape. Now, it is because in the beginning there was Gaia, but Gaia becomes the earth, and the earth becomes the fallen daughter. It means that there was this ancient primordial thing that was in the beginning when it was spiritual, and it excelled and gradually took on the physical shape of the human vibratory rate of the physical. So what was spiritual in the beginning gradually fell into the physical and took on the physical appearances. And that is what the great fallen ones are. They took on physical bodies. Those physical bodies became incubators, and in a series of reincarnation back and forth from the spiritual bodies, we rested, we regenerated, we sifted out the flaws, and now we have a new light. Now listen to this shit right here. The Book of the Dead. The Book of the Dead is a template for all other ancient books. In the books of the dead, you have an upper world, which is ruled by the gods, or the angels. You have an underworld, which is ruled by the demons, or Damians, Amians, Amens, hidden substance. That is nothing but the same God souls of the gods trapped into physical bodies. And that's the template. In order for us to regenerate and go through to make a new God, we went through the middle passage. When we went through the middle passage, we became a series of the new gods. And everything you see in the Book of the Dead or any of these texts, when we're going through the underworld and going through the trials and tribulations, we went through the middle passage. Those books are nothing but a record of us. Let me give you an example. I went to a flea market and got some VHS. So I always keep a video player. I got 10 volumes of the legends, the Bible, myths and legends of the Bible in animation narrated by Charlton Heston. I started to pass this 50, go back in there, shit is 50, it's 10 of them for 50 cents, that's $5. You go get the 10 volumes. I got it, watched the first one, Joseph in the midi-color raincoat. The midi-color raincoat is the chakra system. Joseph, who was the favorite of his father, his other brothers got mad and sold Joseph off into slavery. Does this damn story sound familiar? Our Listen, another one. Samson got his hair cut and became blind. Samson got his heritage cut, and without no heritage and without no culture, he's blind. We are the deaf, dumb, and blind because we don't have no knowledge. You see? So these stories are what happened to us in the last 500 years. Remember now, these biblical scriptures was taken from Coptic scriptures, which was taken from Melanetta. Y'all all right? Now, if the earth existed before creation, when you say creation, you're talking about creation of this Milky Way galaxy. And if the earth was not physical at the time in its beginning, then the earth had to be a spirit. And if the earth was a spirit, we have to be that spirit. As you see we have to be, you see a physical earth, but it wasn't a physical earth, it was a spirit. And we got to be connected to the same thing. It's all a part of us. So when they explain about the earth, they're talking about you. That's even in the 5% they call the women, the men they call gods, and the women they call earth. Right? Now, so we existed in the beginning, and if we existed in the beginning and we took on these physical forms, when they say Potolo, the burnt-off dwarf star, it's called the heaviest metal in the earth, in the world. When you see the dwarf star that goes around Sirius every 60 years, that ain't nothing but melanin that's inside of us. It's the same material. You gotta cut it. Take a break. We gotta leave something. Take a break.
Yes, that's started.
Another break? Look, y'all breaking up the momentum. This is the spirit shit going on now. You done cut the spirit. You see, you gonna mess around and then we're gonna be singing, Jesus, love me just I know, cause the Bible tells me so. You know what I'm saying? I understand, but you gotta roll with the shit, you know. I might come back this thing tap dancing or something. Get blown blind that ass. You see what I'm saying? They can handle it. Now, because I got to go into lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Anybody remember? Okay. Anyway, anybody remember what I was talking about?
You talking about us in spirit and coming into flesh.
Yeah, coming into the flesh. Yeah.
The star being melanin and
right, the star being melanin, that star up there is nothing but what's on the inside of us. Now, this is one of the keys. They talk about a Sirius A, Sirius B, which is the star. Sirius C, which is this, is called the star of woman. And Sirius C is called Hemmitt, which is Hemmitt. We go back to Hemmitt, which we started off with. Let me get the Hemmitt picture. A Hemmitt picture. Because Hemmitt is Sirius C, which is the great mother, which we are honoring today, which is connected with the which is connected with the whole Mother's Day thing, but Hemmitt is the Dogon form of Hemmitt, which is the star of woman. Now, let's put all this together. They say they have two nomos, one male and one female. Now in the Gnostic text they say when the two are made one, that's when it's all over. So the two nomos, when they come together, Because they say that there's a Sirius C, but they haven't been able to find it. The Dogon said it will rule in the future, but it's the star of woman. But they haven't been able to find it in the cosmos, because Sirius C is the final manifestation of Sirius A and Sirius B. And the final manifestation, when the two of them made one, there was two twins, one male and one female, and when they merged back together, back into the androgyny, then that's when it's all over. We are becoming androgynous figures, not based on physical sexuality, but in the spirit aspect of the male and the female merging back together. And when that merges back together, that becomes Sirius C, Hemmitt, which is the same Sirius C. Hemmitt, which is the same Sirius C. You know. Now, and Hemmitt merged together is the return of the nomos. Now the nomos has this ship. This is when we get into spaceship stuff. And this is the ship made out of a basket from the Dogon, which is Nomos Ark. Now we go back into this whole UFO phenomenon. This UFO phenomenon. Now, I started off my Dogon lecture in 92 dealing with the UFO. This is old because this was one of the first damn pictures I had in 92. So that's about 17 years, going on 17 years old. That's why it's all raggedy looking. Had to bring it out in the fall. Now, I started off, and at this time we was dealing with the UFO phenomenon. But I got out of the UFO phenomenon for the simple fact the white boys was taking man-made UFOs, and abducting people. Our UFOs, or our spiritual ships, are not physical. Physical UFOs was made, somebody give me some water. Physical UFOs was made between 1947 on up until 1994, they had a production of physical UFOs. So all that stuff you see on UFO phenomenon that people seeing, that's the government. Ours are spirits. And this is getting very interesting here. Because I was in New York in 1994. Now, I was at the Slave Theater in New York. Y'all remember the Slave Theater? Everybody heard of the Slave Theater?
Yeah.
I was at the Slave Theater in New York. To show you some proof. I told the people at the Slave Theater that a UFO or a ship was going to come and pull outside the Slave Theater after I got through lecturing. Now, had it not come, I wouldn't have been lecturing because they would expose me as a charlatan, especially being in New York City with them hostile days. But I'm still here, so obviously they showed up. As a matter of fact, they got me 2 nights later in Harlem doing a lecture in Harlem where the people that was at the lecture in Brooklyn at the Slave Theater was bearing witness that the ship didn't show up. But you just gotta know what to look at. Because this gets very interesting now, because now we get ready to deal with our power and something is something that is confusing you and you don't know what to look at. Number one, our ships, because there's the return of the nomos, so you gotta know what's going on. Our ships are not physical. Even Pat Robertson, when Independence Day came out, he said, yes, there are UFOs, but they're not physical. They are angels. Angels of light. Now we're talking about the archangel's return. The archangel at Nada, which is over them, which is also called Metatron. And we're also talking about the return of the nomos. Now you gotta know what the ships are and how to look at them. And what is the mystery behind these ships. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
The ship is called, let me get my notes, it's called the Sudarsha chakra. Let me spell this for you. The Sudarsha chakra. Let me get this right. Because it's the return of the nomos. We're going to go into the science. But before I do that, let me do one thing. Anybody saw the movie Ombak? Ombak is a movie about, they got this head, a Buddha head, and the Buddha head, it came from probably the temple of Angkor Wat, protects the village. And when it protects the village, they get prosperity in the village. But somebody came in the village and stole the Buddha head, and they had to take these young warriors to go, they stole it and put it on the open market in the major city, whether Hong Kong or wherever it was, and these young warriors from the village had to go and recover the Buddha head. You see what I'm saying? It's also in the movie, Spike Lee's last movie, The Miracle of Santa Ana. Oh, I think that's the name of it. Where they was carrying around a head. Carrying around this head. And the head protected them for a while. It was all spiritual about this head that was from this bridge. They had these two, the Nazis destroyed this head, and the head ended up being worth $5 million when they found the head years later in this guy's apartment in Brooklyn. Get that last Spike Lee movie. Now, there's another head that's the most dangerous head on the planet. I was going to produce it. Spirit said, well, no, you're going to get some niggas messed up behind that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Y'all all right? We're going to get into other stuff in a few minutes. I'll put these over here. That's what I'm going to use. But I want to show you something. It's the most dangerous head on the planet. I'm going to use this, that. I'm going to use this, show you this. Okay, now, let me get this one thing right here to explain what this is. What this is. This is the God. Let's see if I got one over here. On one minute. Okay. I can explain it to the one I got. Okay, this is the goddess Durga. I'll go back to the normal thing in a minute. Durga is fighting the buffalo demon. She's fighting the buffalo demon, which represents the physical matrix. She's on the lion, she's on the tiger, but the earlier form of Durga, she's on the lion, which makes her a form of the goddess Sekhmet, which makes her a form of the Kundalini energy on the inside of you. Now, this black figure with the hanging bosoms represents a woman that is dead, and she's creating this evil demon. We create our own demons in our mind. And let me show how the story is. This woman is creating her own reality. You see what I'm saying? That's why everything is going on with you. You create it in your mind. There are no enemies. Only the enemy that you make up for yourself. As a coping mechanism that gets out of hand, and you can't break that enemy. So she's creating her own world of hell. This buffalo demon. Y'all get that? Then, what comes up out of her to destroy the buffalo demon is her own Kundalini energy. Once she realizes the power rests in her, Durga comes and destroys the buffalo demon. Okay? So Durga is a powerful deity. She's the ultimate manifestation of Kali, but the higher manifestation of Kali. Now this is where I'm going with this. This is a head of the ultimate form of Durga called Samunda. This head is somewhere in the museum. It's very, very dangerous. Of course, I sleep with it in my bedroom. You see what I'm saying? But then again, I tapped into a certain realm. This head This head is very dangerous. And they got this head over in a museum somewhere in Europe, and they don't know what they got. This is the head of Tamun, and they got those skeletons and stuff like that. Now, what does this ultimately mean? It ultimately means that you don't get a black woman mad because it might do something that you might regret. Might do something that you might regret by getting that sister mad. It's for its own power. And the whole earth and all of mythology was built on trying to hold this power down. Trying to hold this particular power down. But you don't get a sister mad because this is just a representation of the ultimate power of this particular sister. Now, so this particular head is just interesting here how they had that Santa Ana picture in that particular movie, and Spike Lee was trying to express that he had gotten in an argument with I think it was an argument with Clint Eastwood. He was like, y'all act like y'all doing all these war movies. You act like black people never fought in the war. And we fought in all the wars. Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and that damn. But you think like World War II was lily white. You know what I'm saying? We was in the Korean War where they got MASH that came on. MASH ran for damn near 10 years on TV without a black face. And there was black men in Korea because Korea was the war that Truman integrated the damn war. So by the time the Korean war came about, not only there was black people in the war like they had always been, but it was an integrated war. But yet MASH did damn near 10 years on TV and you ain't seen a black face. You see what I'm saying? So here go again how you rewrite history. You see, so he did this particular movie, but it all centered around the head, and that's the head of Durga. And that's the head of Durga. And it's interesting here because whenever you see those skeletons, that also represents the ancestral power. The ancestral power, which is inside of us. Now, moving right along back to this ship. I went to New York and told them when a spaceship was going to appear, the spaceship appeared. Now, how was this done? In 1973, they had a syndicated show came on called UFO. And my mama used to watch this show. So one night, in 1973, she took us outside and showed us a spaceship beside the house. Spaceship beside the house. So years later, when I started teaching on this spaceship stuff, she said, that ain't shit, nigga. I showed you the spaceship back in 1973. I said, damn, you sure did. So I forgot about it until 1992 when the spaceship started following. Now, I ain't special. Everybody in here got you a spaceship. This is where we get ready to go with this shit. See, they looking for the aliens to return. We are the aliens that's returning. You just got to find out where your ship is, and that's your power. This is the ultimate shit, and we get ready to get our power. And it took me years to figure it out. The ship started following me a couple of months before I started lecturing, or about a year before I started lecturing. I started noticing this ship. This is the same ship that I asked. They didn't know when I went to New York. I went out to Long Island to a sister named Shakura. And she was a psychic channeler. What's that? Oh, my glasses. Oh, shit. I want to crush them. She was a channeler. They come and go. And I asked her to get in contact with the ship and asked the ship, could the ship appear before the slave theater on Nostrum Avenue? And she said it was cool, they'll show up. So I wasn't stupid now. I wasn't going to go and put my goddamn career on the line, and I didn't spiritually know some stuff. So what happened when we got outside the slave theater, there was about 100 people out there, and they were standing around looking for a ship. Now, you know them niggas get ready to say, oh God, we going to talk about this nigga for 100 years. Because there wasn't shit up in the sky. Then all of a sudden, from down the street, the ship came and pulled up right in front of the slave theater. And we got them on tape 2 days later, bearing witness to it. As a matter of fact, when I went back, and that was in 1994, when I went back in 2000 and I brought up the incident, it was 2 or 3 people in the election in the audience saying, we remember that night. Now, here's 2 pictures. Here's 2 pictures. One, an ancient Egyptian version, and one, a European painting version. Now they said that all your Christian photographs used to come in early Christianity. All the photographs used to come when they had Jesus, they had angels, and they had the apostles. They would all have a ship up in the corner. And then in the Conference of Nicaea, when they took out the books, they told them to cover up the paintings with the ships that was in the corner of the paintings. And all the Jesus pictures used to have the ships, and all the apostles' pictures, and all the nuns and devotees of the church, and even doggone priests used to have ships in the background. Go get William Henry. William Henry got a series of videos that talk about this. He also got a book called Stargate, the Dimensions of the Blessed. And in the Conference of Nicaea, they made them they made them repaint over them pictures. And this is how these pictures used to look. With this European woman or an angel with a ship and a vortex or a stargate over her. Y'all following me? Yeah. Now, here's, I said, ascending. And as you can see, the wings represent a ship or a stargate. These pictures were taken from a book called The Lucid View. The Lucid View. And it says, Isis ascending, and it says a virgin goddess with a vortex over her head. Same concept. Now let me break this down to you. Our ships, Hemmitt, I talked about this in New York about a year ago. Y'all all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hemmitt, to break this thing down, the Jehovah's Witness, you know, Prince have to go and be a Jehovah's Witness. The Jehovah's Witness got so big in the early 70s, it was a phenomenon. And all of a sudden now you can see a few people knocking on doors and annoying the hell out of you. But what had happened with the Jehovah's Witnesses had a prophecy that they read the wrong way. The prophecy said that the world would end in 1975. And as a result, the Jehovah's Witnesses was going around, and so what happened was going around preaching this stuff, 72, 73. Anybody remember this? They was preaching that the world was going to end in 1975. When the world didn't end in 1975, it completely destroyed the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they just become a little ragtag group that go around knocking on your doors, wearing the hell out of you on Saturdays. But the prophecy they had, they read the wrong way. The prophecy that they had, the United States government picked up on it. They had a couple of occult groups, and these occult groups got a transmission in 1975 from a group of people called UMO, the destination of the wolf. And it said the destination of the wolf was the pale fox, but the wolf also represented a nous, any kind of dog. Remember, dogs originally came from wolves. There was wolves, and then there was dogs that was domesticated out of wolves. So the destination of the wolf, that's the liking, or the liking. Anybody saw The Last Son of the World? You better recognize this on video yet. That shit wasn't nothing about slavery and the slave master. They let it all hang out in this last one. And they had a black man that they made immortal, which meant that he was returning back to his old self. The wolf represents Anubis, and Anubis is called Anu, Anpu, Anu, Anunnaki. The return of the Anunnaki. And the Anunnaki is up. Anunnaki, Anpu, Anubis, dog, the wolf. So they said that there was a group called Umo, U-M-M-O, the destination of the wolf. And Umo translated E-M-M-E-Y-A, Yemenia. That was in 1975. And they said it was an extraterrestrial government that will rule Earth in the future. Well, that extraterrestrial government is the Anunnaki, and the Anunnaki is Anubis, and Anubis is a black and gold dog, which represents melanin, and it's talking about your ancestors and you and what's happening on the inside of you. You are the Anunnaki. You are the Umo. You are the Imi returning. You are the Nomo. So they returned in 2007. They returned in the fall of 2007 as a group called OMOZ. O-M-O-Z. Yeah, O-M-O-Z. Which was Osiris, Mayat, Obatala, and Zarabanda. Zarabanda is Palo. Obatala is Yoruba, which represents West Africa and the Western Hemisphere. Mayat is Egyptian or Camite, and Osiris is Egyptian Camite. OMOZ, O-M-O-Z, which is the word Umo that they got in 1975, they mistranslated, or either they didn't give them the right word, was OMOZ in 2007, the extraterrestrial government. Now let's break this down so that you understand how this thing happened. Y'all all right? Okay, let's break this down. The ships and all that out there are nothing but your ancestors and you. Anybody saw the movie The Golden Compass? Raise your hands. It's still on cable. Remember, everybody had their own demon. And the demon was an animal. They said some souls live outside of the body, some souls live in the body. And everybody had their own demon following them around. Demon, daemon, Amy, Amen, hidden substance, melanin, or spirit. Now check this out. If you saw that movie, you was attached to your demon or your entity, and it followed you around. And if they severed you from your demon, your entity, you was lost. Okay? Now, let's break this down so that you understand what's going on. You don't exist. You are nothing but a projection of something that is in another dimension or in the sky, depends on what you call it, that is projecting you and dreaming you up. I didn't realize until a couple of months ago, or maybe about 6 months ago, that the ship that was following me, and the ship that was over our house in 73, and my ship, because that could have been my mother's, I don't know. She was the first to see it. And my ship that was following me since 92, now listen to this, was who I am. That's me in this other dimension that's not even local, and this is only a projection of me. Woo, that's some heavy shit there. They keep saying that you don't exist. You're only a series of events that never existed. So if you didn't exist here, where do you exist? You exist in the ship, and you can see them out there in the sky if you know what you're looking at. So the reason why I can call up the ship in New York, because the ship actually called me up to call it up. So everything that we are going through, until you figure it out, and I'm giving you the key, that you are not local, you are someplace else. And the first thing happened when the brother C. Freeman made the transition and came back, he said, you know that you someplace else. You all are not even there. You up here with us. But your physical body got you thinking that you are you. So what this means is this. Now check this out. You know all the niggas out there running around killing each other? And I told you I wasn't going to have no bleeding heart with no good niggas. They ain't even around no more. They have ascended. They used to say that you people in the consciousness, the dead people are going to go before you. You are the angels that assist them. So these people that you seeing out here that's running around like zombies, they already ascended. They had to leave us behind so that we can get the rest of them, or we can get the rest of the people that's into the consciousness. They don't even exist no more. Some of your family members are already gone. And there's a movie called, came out of Australia. It's called, it'll come to me again. It's called something of the dead, the undead. You had all these zombie movies that came out in the 2000s. But they never told you the source of the zombie. But it was always black people that had one called the City of the Dead, and the black man was leading everybody. The first Night of the Living Dead, they had a black man in 1969. But they didn't tell you the source, because they put out one in Australia called the Undead, and in that the zombies that was walking around eating everybody like zombies, they looked up and there were spaceships up in the sky, and one of the spaceships picked some of the ones that wasn't zombies up and took them up too, and they got up in the sky. It was the zombies on the ground was spiritual beings ascending into the spaceships and going home. That's why you can't reach them, because they ain't even here. So what I'm trying to tell you is this, and this is what you got to look at. Up in those skies, there's a ship out there. Now the government, what they did is this. Well, first of all, the ancestors, what they was doing is the ancestors, and this is what the Raphael came to the brother Panic and told him the other night. Raphael said that some of your people, the ancestors, they go to the sun. And what they do is they throw off these sunspots. And these sunspots are supposed to be energies that trickle down into you and trickle down into melanin to wake you up. The government knows it, so what the government did is they put a Kim dome over the earth. There's chemtrails and there's Kim dome. Kim dome means we haven't seen the sky since 1999. And you can go and you can see clouds, and you can see a sky behind it that's gray, but you ain't seen no blue sky since 1999. Because they put the Kim dome to stop the sunspot from trickling down in the melanin to wake more people up. It's not bothering you because you already woke. But there will be more dead people that was awakened if they didn't have these chemtrails. Blocking out, this putting a layer between the sunspots coming down to wake you up and to illuminate the people. They put a barrier around the earth, and that's what Kim dome is about. But all you have to do is go outside at night. It's harder to do in the city, but you can do it. And look and study the skies. You will know what a star is. You will know what a planet is. You will know what an airplane is. And this is where it gets tricky. Because in 1971 or 72, the FAA told the airplanes that they had to put colored lights flashing on the airplanes to camouflage to camouflage the sky, because the spirit beings are the things that's out there, what we call angels. There's a book called Angels and Aliens by Thompson. And the things that's out there, they hover and they got red, green, yellow type of things. But because they put the red and green lights on the airplane, when you look up and this thing is out there, you think it's an airplane. But if you look at the airplane, pretty soon it will leave. ordinary, except when you get in a car and they follow the car. You just gotta learn what it is. If you so happen to see something that you figure out up there, that's not a plane, because the plane is always gonna, it might be slow sometimes when they hover, waiting to go into the airport. But if it's not a plane, and it's kind of hard here because the BWI, just like in Atlanta, they got one of the biggest airports in the world, so they have more planes coming in. But if you look and find out something that's hovering in that sky, and it's got colors in it, but it ain't going nowhere, that's the ship, which is the angel. And guess what? The one that you look at, that's you. That is you. And that is what's beaming you down. You get this? So the stuff is out there. It's just that you got to know what to look at, and you can't be looking. So that's why they look on the History Channel. They don't give you no black history, but they give you UFO files every week. That is because they want to get you to think that it's a physical UFO, train you on that so you don't look for the spiritual one out there, which is yourself trying to tell you that you ain't real. That all the stuff, you are nothing but a projection of it, because you are not local. Y'all all right?
Yeah.
That's what's going down. They're not letting you know this. You see what I'm saying? Now, but the history that they give you on the History Channel and in these books is a fabricated, physical, round UFOs that they've been building in Area 51 since 1947. And so you are confusing man-made UFOs with spiritual entities, which used to be the unidentified flying objects that they couldn't explain, but they had to fabricate, because if they didn't put them round spaceships or the ones that was abducting people, people would know that there was a spiritual thing down there that was higher than their ass. And you can't rule nobody if the people got a notion that there's something higher than you. So you fabricate it with all the abductions and all the physical crashing. They have something going to crash. These things, they got spaceships 8.5 million light years away. How the hell you gonna put fuel in something to go from one way? If it's got fuel, then it's gonna run out before you get to the damn Earth. It's 8.5 million years away, light years away. You know what I'm saying? You can't even fill up a damn tank of gas now and get across town.
What's up with your crop circles?
Huh?
Crop circles.
Some of those, let's put it this way. If they were significant, other than knowing that there is something, the crop circles he's talking about, if they were significant, other than something to say that there's something out spiritual out here, why we haven't been able to translate it? And my point here is this: why ain't they never no crop circles in the ghetto? We the only motherfuckers on the earth. We feel it at least, and we got some of us awake. Why we never see no crop circles and no abductions coming from the ghetto? Why you never see no crop circles in Africa? You always see them in England, Scotland, Ireland, or New England, Vermont. Seems like a hoax to me, because they talk about crop circles, but nobody never know how to read them. They haven't had a comprehensive book that has come to say this is what this is saying. So if there was an angel sending something to humanity, it seems like me they would send something that people can translate and read, other than some pretty damn pictures. Seems like a hoax to me. You see what I'm saying? Seems like a hoax to me. What's that, brother?
You mentioned the
Yeah.
Well, but you also said that the UFOs were not actually physical, but my studies.
The Anunnaki, your studies, they are not no physical Anunnaki. Know where you're coming with this. The Anunnaki is Anubis, mythology, just like everybody else, and that's talking about components inside of your body, and not talking about. And see, some of this stuff, see, this is what happened. That's why I said about Zachariah Sitchin and these bastards. What they did is they took the text, and some of these texts were talking about spiritual things, and they made them literal, just like they did Jesus. You see, and then Dr. Young followed with that shit. And that's why his ass is in prison, and ain't no shams or nothing else gonna break his ass out. Only thing gonna break him out is a negotiation with that white man. But I'm saying, the Anunnaki is Anubis, and these are spiritual principles, and ultimately these are spiritual principles explaining the autonomy of the body of God, us. You see, us. You see, just like that reptilian shit, which the serpentine people, third eye, kundalini. These are spiritual principles that explain our biological spiritual makeup is later on turning into some reptilian people that's ruling the earth, all that Davidite shit. So what it is these white boys, Zechariah 16 was paid to alter the history. The Anunnaki is none other than melanin, when you break it down. Yes, we are the Anunnaki, but they're talking about spiritual substances. All you got to do is read the text. You see what I'm saying? Now, sometimes when you try to equate this shit with history, we were all that is in history. In the Anunnaki, you take it to Anpu, Anubis, like I'm trying to say, they got millions of Egyptian texts. They ain't got one. There is nothing in Samaria but about 5 or 6 texts that they keep redoing over and over, and people be writing their own bullshit in it. So they got a whole movement of Zechariah 16 and stuff like that, and other ones that is falsifying this shit. These are spiritual things. You see what I'm saying? It's spiritual things. There's no dog-headed man walking around that used to live on the planet of Anubis. These are spiritual principles talking about stuff on the inner level, and that's what the advanced people understand. But you got the literalists that carve history, and that's what I'm trying to say. It's a difference.
About this 2011 and 2012.
Okay, 2012. 2012. We are in 2012 now. We've probably been in 2012 since 2001. Why? Because if you study the spiritual path, the earth goes in seasons and cycles. It don't go on dates. Dates are artificially man-made. So even if they said that they saw a date, let's say for the sake of argument, the Aztecs or the Mayans had this date for 2012. What they was doing was giving you a calculation of a cycle of time. So we're in a 2012 season that's happening now. Other than when you get to that date, you're going to be disappointed. Just like people were disappointed on the millennium. They were disappointed on Y2K. They were disappointed on 12/12/2000 and 1994 because the dates don't exist. People try to calculate the date, and the date is something that man has to use for his own calendar based on his order of the day. But the stuff goes in cycle. Nature goes in cycle. There is no date on when spring come in. It don't come in literally on the 21st. That's a cycle to calculate an energy and a circumference of a cycle that spring might eventually creep in around that time. You see what I'm saying? Well, 2012 is a cycle or a season, and we are in it now. And we are waking up, and this lecture we're talking about is a part of the 2012 season. You see what I'm saying? Just like the lecture before was a part of the millennium. So when you deal with dates, you're going to be disappointed because you don't understand it's the cycle. You see what I'm saying? And we are in the cycle now. 2012 is happening now. What's that, brother?
Plus, there's no terms, you have major adjustments to time.
Huh?
Plus, just in looking at it, you had major adjustments to time.
In due time, right? You got calendars. The Dogon said the calendar ran out in 1990. You see, you got several calendars that have expired. You got several. The Gregorian calendar is all out of whack. So you can't deal with it on the Gregorian, which is the one we own now. You see what I'm saying? Which the one we own now. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you have to deal with cycles. You have to deal with cycles. So I'm just trying to say, look, see this is what I say. And you can challenge me on this shit, because I deal with ancient texts. That means I ain't getting some secondary work or some bullshit motherfucker like Zechariah. I seen Zechariah's stitching ass change certain Egyptian texts, took the word serious out, and he does manipulation. And we met that cracker up in, I think we was up in Boston. And we stepped to his ass, and he said, hey, I'm writing for the Jews. They do 90% of my research. And whoever do my research, I can say what the fuck I want, he's right. But don't think that this asshole is right. I'm trying to tell you, Samaria don't have enough Samaria, they only show you the same cuneiform text. Now, the same cuneiform text can't explain everything in Samaria. They show you about a couple of cuneiform texts in that, and they say everything comes from that. You see what I'm saying? Whereas we got thousands and thousands of documents, and the Egyptians stumped they toe. They documented. Not only on the ceilings and the walls and the palaces, but on the mummies, on the funerary casings. And yet, we don't have no evidence shit. You can't find nothing in Samaria. You got one wall with Marduk and Tiamat and a couple other walls, but the evidence is not there. That means some motherfucker is fabricating some shit. Because the texts that they do have, we got those texts. And those texts cannot change over the years. They are the same text. The Enuma Elish, the Gilgamesh, the Inanna love tales. They got tales from Samaria, and they are highly, heavily fragmented. But all of a sudden, these bitch-ass crackers are supposed to be getting all this history from this shit. Like Zachariah Stitchin and goddamn David Icke and them. They're lying. They're lying like they've been fabricating shit all the time. And if you take that stuff and say Anunnaki and understand that that was Anubis, you see what I'm saying? And the Anubis, this is the fucking Anunnaki right here. See, what we do is we go to the goddamn temple walls. We ain't gotta take some cracker